Hello and welcome to The Backlash, a weekly discussion about the past, present, and future of Western civilization. I am your host, Rebecca Hargraves, joined as always by Mr. Dave Riley.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We are
an hour early.
Yes. Cameron McGregor, our other co-host, comes from an undisclosed location where the time difference has made it difficult for him to arrive at 4 p.m.
Hidden bunker from a nondescript location.
That is correct.
Dave, you're looking more and more like Willy Wonka with those glasses.
Oh.
Wait till you taste my chocolate.
I don't even know what that means, but it disgusts me. You can find us on X at Real Backlash, our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash. Word has it that we're going to have some subscriber-only content on
Yes.
Subscribestar on Patreon in the
Very
coming
soon.
months. So also join us on patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live to thebacklash.net/superchat. What else? Sub to us on YouTube.
All of our platforms,
All of our platforms.
please. And if you can spend a moment on what is this, Apple Podcasts?
Please get that rating up.
We got bashed. We got gay
Hey,
bashed.
2.3.
Hey, we're up. Look at that. That's
Look at that.
wonderful. Can I see these like ratings somewhere? Because they are hysterical. Maybe one of these days we'll go through them.
TLDR, they're very bad, but not in the way like this podcast sucks. In the way like they're racist, bad.
Wait, here we go. Here we go. Yeah,
A breath of fresh air.
Look at this. This is like
Can you go
we've
to the
got
1-star ones?
133 ratings. Can we look at the 1 stars?
I don't know. They all say the same thing.
See all. No, it's not letting me click on you. Why
Well, thank you for
not?
the few of you that came to our defense.
Thank you very much. But yes, please sub to us also on our YouTube channel at Real Backlash. We only have 1.43 thousand subscribers. This is.
We'll get there. We're trending up. It's going to be a big year for the Backlash.
Yes, it is.
Trying to think positively.
And on Rumble.
Backlash Podcast.
Yes, please.
This week, we're working on our TikTok, on our Instagram. I've been told to start a Kick.
Kicks like the live stream.
I don't know, that adorable little fella that we had on Monday
Oh yeah.
told us to do that.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we could add Kick. We could add a Kick channel.
I know that you told me to stop acting like I'm an old lady, but I can't.
Stop acting like such an old hag.
Can we do the kick? Can we put our stuff on the kick? Yeah.
Thekick.com.
Yeah,
Is
totally.
that what it is? Yeah, we could do that. I want to get us up on Zapstream.
What is that?
Don't ask, don't tell.
Oh, okay.
It's a Bitcoin streaming app.
Oh,
Anyway.
oh,
Like
geez.
nobody
Oh,
uses it.
geez.
So we could be like the only ones on the dissident right.
That's your takeaway from nobody uses this, that we should join it because we'd be the only ones. Isn't the takeaway that no one uses it?
No one uses it yet. It's like Nostr. We need to have an episode, by the way, about this whole this crackdown on free speech that's been going on. I don't know if you, Cameron, you're in an undescript location. And so I don't know if you've heard any more about this, but, for example, in England, they are cracking down on users on the internet. They're trying to verify that they're adults to get on YouTube. The censorship ban hammer is coming down. I actually saw a House Judiciary Committee report basically saying that the European restrictions on speech are so bad that it's going to affect American censorship. And so that's something that we need to look into.
Well, we are going to be talking about the UK and what's going on over there today. We're also going to be talking about Trump's downfall, a little bit about that. It seems like he's going to give a nod to us in the most meaningless gestures.
Oh, yeah. Should we do this now?
Oh, yeah, let's do this now.
We got some mail from you guys. Thank you.
No docs.
I want to make sure
No
that
docs.
I'm not doxing. Yeah, okay. So this one we got, and I'm sorry we're not like unzipping it live, but
Your phrasing today has just been spectacular. Just excellent phrasing.
do we have? He wrote us a little letter. Hold on. Jeez, I am messing this whole thing up.
You really are.
Here we go. You can read that
Why do you make me do
because
this?
I can't read handwriting.
Hello, all. I watch you all the time. I've seen people send you some coins and wanted to share some of my World War II collection. Hope you all enjoy the pictures and other random stuff. The document is specifically for Rebecca. It's an original document from the Deutsche, what does this say? Frauenwerk. It was for women who supported the movement. You can Google it. I'm 36 and around your age. And I just wanted to say thank you for being on the front lines. Hope you all enjoy. Thank you so much. That is so cool. Let's see what we got in here.
This is for Fräulein Hedwig Schulten, I guess. Here, you can take a look at that.
Look at this.
That's an original document from what year? Does it
April
have the year on it?
1941.
42. Oh, yeah, look at that. Wow. Here, turn it around. Maybe
There's some kind of seal on it as well.
yeah, there's like a watermark. I don't know if we can't really zoom into it. I apologize. But then we also got this very interesting, I don't know if you can see that.
Where should I put this?
I don't know. Just you can put it. Well, let's put it somewhere. I want to get this framed for you.
Yeah,
you know? Here,
totally.
let's put this here for now. And then we got this, which has all kinds of goodies in it. And I took a picture of it before we went live so that I could like show everybody. But look at this shit. Look at this. So first of all, these are pictures, like real original pictures. Here, you can take that. I don't even know how to describe these, but they're like original pictures from the field during World War II. And I think I have.
They look so elegant.
I think
Can
I
you guys
have
see this?
the ability. Here, I can do this.
Oh, cool.
So I like kind of spread it all out, and I blurred a couple things. But I mean, these are so neat. Let's see if we can go in. You can see like, a German officer with a couple girls, boys hanging out at the bar.
That's the French resistance there in that second picture.
Is it?
Just kidding.
It's fine. But yeah, this guy looks like he just got hit in the head with something. He's got a little bandage on. An awards ceremony. Here. These are the originals. You can look at those.
Did you blur out all the swastikas?
I had to because I figured that YouTube would be good. But then we also got here. I've got
This is
one right here.
amazing.
And so you can see it better here.
We probably shouldn't be touching these.
Probably not. I want to get these framed or something because I mean these stamps. I'm afraid I'm going to lose them. But B, look at these stamps, man. People take their stamp collections very seriously. But anyway, thank you so much for sharing this.
That is just incredible. Thank you.
I am now going to have to get one of those like false back rooms with the like, you know, the bookcase Murphy door.
Like
and then
in
you
V for
open it up
Vendetta.
and then there's just
Right.
like flags and armband. No, I'm kidding. But no, this history stuff is really cool, you know.
Just incredible.
And it is getting more and more rare, you know, every year that goes on, you know, people pass away, the grandkids propagandize, they
Right.
throw it out, they don't care.
Who would do such a thing? I find it very touching that our audience would give us a piece of their collection. Though.
Yeah, that's amazing. So thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Don't want to dox you, but you know who you are. We know who you are. And also, we got a second package with more goodies in it. A Raspberry Pi 4 computer. Thank you.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a microcomputer.
What?
Yeah. So like I don't know if we're gonna set this up for other streaming or maybe we can have it like set to like automatically archive or something. And oh yes, finally a 20 terabyte hard drive.
That's a lot, right?
That's a lot. So I'll be able to put the archives of the show on there. And then I think there's a couple things for you in here, Blonde. Like a CD.
Is it?
Looks like it's a homemade CD.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm assuming that this is for you too. It's an anime called Psycho Pass, seasons 1 and 2. I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure that's for me.
That might be. It might be for you, Cam.
My gift.
And
Cool.
also, we have this nice little architecture for kids book. I don't know if or do any of yours want to be architects?
They like most women, they have poor spatial reasoning skills.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be good for one of your sons.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good. But thank you very much for
That is so cool.
everything you sent. We are going to put this technological stuff to good work.
We will
And
indeed.
By the way, we should probably make a little lower third banner to pop up with this. But if you would like to send us some stuff, you can do that at P.O. Box 853, Post Falls, Idaho, 83877. That's P.O. Box 853, Post Falls, Idaho, 83877.
We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. It's great. I love receiving like fan mail.
Mm-hmm.
Just I like having the excuse to leave my house once a week besides going to church. And it's like, you know, you go to the post office, do the key thing. And
It's old timey. Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah,
it's
it's nice.
It gives
Having
me
something physical. Yep, I hear you.
a good excuse to get out of the house. But yes, thank you all.
Anywho.
You guys live truly interesting lives, I have to say. Leaving your house to go to the P.O. box. High point of the week.
For a second, I thought he was being serious. I was
No,
like,
it
wow.
is. I am. If I'm not leaving, when I leave my house, it's to go smoke a cigar, go to church, or go to the mailbox. That's about it.
That's a testimony to how wonderful your home is and how wonderful your wife has made your home.
Yes. Also, we have plenty of space here, so like I don't have to leave. You
Right.
know, we've got a couple acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, the divide between being single and being married, man, it is the Great Barrier Reef. isn't it?
Yeah. Once you get married and have kids, if you want to do something, I don't know, on a whim, you can.
Nope.
There's no doing that
You
anymore.
have to like plan ahead.
Plan
You have
ahead.
to bring snacks.
Right,
You have
right,
to make
right.
sure everybody is like appropriately dressed because everyone will judge you if they aren't.
Yes, and if you're leaving, you have to give your spouse an incentive to do you a favor by like cooking them a nice meal or something like that so that you don't have to feel guilty when you're gone.
Yes.
It's
I don't
a
know.
whole thing.
I don't know about that. I feel like that's more of a woman thing.
I'm like, all right, next week I need you to watch the kids for 2 hours, but tonight I'll make a roast chicken.
See, this is the difference between, you see, it's like you call it babysitting when
Yeah.
your husband watches the kids.
Yeah.
I call that parenting.
Ooh, I know he's not watching this. So.
Burn.
No, he's a good dad. Okay, before I was so rudely interrupted by
Sorry.
that segment that I forgot.
Is there a better place to put it? Should we put it at the front? Should we put it at the back
No,
of the show?
this was my mistake.
No, it's okay.
Dave is a force of disruption, both in finance and disrupting the show.
It's true. Stop rubbing your hands together. Although we've been thinking about doing some related merch
Yeah.
of Dave with his incessant hand rubbing.
We could do the, like, you've seen like the Begora,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Irishman, except
Yeah.
it's me.
I
We
can't
could do
wait to
that.
go to the local grocery store and I see somebody wearing a shirt of Dave. Like,
rubbing my hands.
yeah.
This has been a thing, though. I mean, I don't. Since we had a little meeting yesterday, and since we've had our meeting, I've just been like diving down this rabbit hole of like, should I just open a print company?
Yeah, I mean, you can always get cut off.
Because it's like, if we're going to sell, to do the print on demand thing anymore on the internet, it's like we would have to charge $50 for a t-shirt and like $90 for a hoodie. And that seems a little excessive, but if I bought the actual screen printer and just made them myself, we could
30
and
sell
60
shirts
and actually like make some money.
that say make it 110.
Yeah, true. We could sell knockoff Kanye shirts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm into it. I'm into it.
Catch my drift.
Okay. Today we're talking Trump's downfall. We're talking elites versus the populace in the UK, and of course the Fuentes, Candace, Tucker debacle, which was just the huge news of the week. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I think it's such an important story because this divide between dissident right adjacent elite media and true ethno-nationalists is just become a chasm. And I'm so pleased to see how this played out. Although I've got to say, I am worried about Nick. Should we just dive right in with this clip? I was thinking that we would watch it and stop to react as we saw fit. So it's clip number 1 if you want to start. But this just has gone massively viral, and it's for a very important reason. Let's go ahead.
Let's do it. See? It's one of those. It's going to be one of those days.
No,
guys.
it's not. No, it's not.
It's going to be.
It's going to be great.
We
have a great show.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, has it occurred to you that? And I just want to say, I haven't watched a lot of Nick Fuentes in my life at all. But what I've seen, the guy's very talented. Like, just as a. Well, let me just say this: as someone who's talked to cameras his whole life, it is very hard to sit and just like riff for 20 minutes. And I think it's an amazing skill, and he has that skill. But I also have noticed that his targets are all people who are sincere, non-crazy, non-hateful opponents of neocon politics.
Right.
So you have to kind of wonder about that. So Nick Fuentes is like, oh, I don't like the neocons. But then his targets are J.D. Vance, Joe Kent. He got involved in Joe Kent's campaign with a super. Oh yes, you, me, and it's like, what is that?
Can you pause it for a second?
And I asked him about that because that's a question that I had.
This Tucker aw shucks thing has absolutely run its course. For him to claim ignorance, why would he possibly be targeting all of these people that have revealed themselves as swamp creatures, and just to act like that's just so outrageous? Mm-hmm. It's just incredible to watch this. It's the level of cope. Cameron, did you want to jump in here before we go on?
Nope, keep going.
Okay.
All right.
The right thing by asking him to his face, what's up with this? Like, why do you attack Dave Smith? You say that like your biggest critique is that America's being controlled by Israel. Then you have Dave Smith, who has been such a sound voice. And by the way, opposite experience with Dave Smith. I have my podcast. He's a fantastic human being.
Dave Smith is one of the nicest people
fantastic
ever.
Human.
Yes.
And so I judge people according to my experiences with them. And so Nick is being judged according to my experience with him.
But like, what is this?
I don't get
Where
it.
does
I don't
the funding
understand
come
it.
from? I probably shouldn't even say this, but the only reason I know who he is because.
Wait, where does the funding come from?
Yeah.
I know where it comes from.
Nick's funding?
Yeah, I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from like fucking Groiper Mom 19.
Yeah.
It comes from like, high school kids sitting in the basement watching Nick.
Right.
All over the place.
Yeah.
It's $5 super chat after $5 super chat, maybe, a couple $100 super chats. But this is funded by Groipers. This is funded by like normal people.
Yeah, and the audacity of Tucker and Candace. Tucker, who was born into a CIA family, got to where he was through nepotism, which I don't oppose. I mean, we should use nepotism in our movement as we can. Yeah. And Candace, who's worth $130 million because she married
George
Farmer.
After meeting him for 2 weeks on Zoom?
Yeah. For them to act like, where could his funding possibly come from for him to get to this level? It's this aw shucks thing again. He is an organic movement, and he represents millions of little anon accounts on Twitter.
Disaffected young white
men. Go on.
Yeah, hold on.
Someone sent me a video a few years ago of him attacking me, and I was like, so I'm looking at this. And I'm like, well, first of all, this kid's really talented, like legit. And I can assess that just having done the job for so long. So it's like, wow, lots of talent, native talent. And he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn actually, was involved in that world.
Should we address this now?
Well, yeah, this is a lie.
It is a lie. It's such an easily provable lie because even Putin recognized that his father was in the CIA before the death of his father. He's
Correct.
talked about it multiple times. I've seen all
He was
sorts
also on the Sean Ryan show.
Yeah.
And that was like a year ago
Yeah.
before his dad died. And he talked about his father being in CIA.
Didn't his father help him get into Nicaragua?
Yeah. Hold on a second. We're not entirely the most prepped that we should be.
Who is we?
I am not as prepped as I should be, but
But how can he say this when we all can look back at the thousands and thousands of hours that he's spoken in media and mention this
look at this.
innumerable
There's
times?
a photo of him hanging out with the fucking Contras.
Yeah, like how did this happen?
This happened because he was down there aiding in a CIA-backed color revolution that his dad helped architect.
Right.
Hello.
So for him to make the claim that he only discovered this after his father died in March is just so asinine and easily disproven. It's sort of astonishing to witness him lie in a way that we can all disprove.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going with this clip.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get back.
I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but
Completely
that's just a
shocked.
fact.
Right.
This was in March. That is, and like he's in an intelligence world. How would he know that? And I
Wait,
didn't.
so that was his critique of you because I didn't see it. It was
Yeah,
like, he's like,
someone just sent me this video and it was like, you can't believe anything Carlson says because his father was in the CIA and he's
fascinating.
a CIA working on behalf of the CIA. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, and I actually feel emotional in my anger towards CIA. And I think of that comes out on the air quite regularly.
Right.
And so the idea that I'm working for the CIA is like deranged.
Well, if it helps, he said I'm funded by Russia now. Since the interview, he then did a thing and said I was funded by
But you
Russia.
would be
So I was like, okay.
a lot more likely
But
to
she
take
is.
Russian
Hold
money
on.
than I.
She is funded by Russia. They've got connections to Rebecca Mercer. And Rebecca Mercer's the Russian connection.
Yeah.
So does Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Sorry.
This is the projection.
I would be to work for the CIA because you would never take Russian money and you're not Russian. But I mean, I really hate the CIA. And I mean, I would that's like very offensive to me. So why would you?
It's like personal for you.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
And anyway, like, who is this kid exactly?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just an accident that the guy exclusively goes after people who are in roughly the same. And then he gets up there and he's like, making Holocaust jokes. And it's like, is it possible that this is like David Duke? And David Duke, every time I had a new show, David Duke would endorse my show. I don't know. Who the hell is David Duke? Well, David Duke is obviously part of a campaign to discredit people on the right, obviously.
Mm.
And I think it's very obvious that Nick Fuentes is exactly the same. Doesn't mean everything he says is false. It doesn't mean he's not talented. He's enormously talented. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. I'm not attacking him personally, but he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices. That's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know when I see it.
Yeah, and
6
I will
minutes.
say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like I truly, like we almost said, like we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for
come
dinner.
on.
I mean,
Can we?
Who's we, Candace?
Her team. And this
Oh.
is what I guess we should watch what Tucker says next because it's applicable to what I'm about to say.
That's how good of an experience I had.
Yeah, clearly it's
and then it was a
sad-
180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he like just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's
that could be one element.
the angry gay
Or-
kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's what you're saying where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not. I can say
Why is he
lied.
attacking Joe Kent, who, Joe Kent worked as a CIA contractor, paramilitary contractor. He was in the U.S. military for years fighting our neocon wars. And his wife was killed in Syria in one of those wars. Joe Kent is the single most sincere critic, and I would say the one with the most credibility in the United States to say this foreign policy is bad. It killed my wife. I was a part of it. Joe Kent is actually someone the CIA doesn't like at all because
Can
he
you pause it for a
understands how
second?
it operates.
So at this point, I hope that everybody has seen Nick's incredible piece in response to Tucker and Candace. Truly, without exaggeration, I've been doing this for 10 years. I think it was the most powerful monologue I've ever heard online.
Yeah.
It just hit every note. He was so confident, and I really felt like he spoke for all of us.
Yeah.
It was incredibly powerful. So if you haven't watched that, he does describe how he had talked to Joe Kent and he had a long-standing relationship with Joe Kent under the pretense, the only thing that he asked was, do not disavow me publicly. That's the only thing I ask of you. I will help you get groypers. I will back you in any way that I can. The only thing I ask is that you do not publicly disavow me, which is exactly what Joe Kent did, which violated the terms of their initial agreement. So after that, he came with all of the receipts.
Well, and it wasn't just that he disavowed him; it's that he specifically disavowed him over Israel.
Yes,
that was in the tweet. He said.
I think he even said "greatest ally."
Yeah, I think he did.
Let's keep going with this.
I just want to play the Studio Ghibli version.
I know.
It's like way better, honestly.
We'll watch it. It's going to make me cry.
Nick Fuentes, who's like some child from Chicago, to go after him specifically, one congressional seat in Washington State.
That is random.
No,
it's not random.
Though. It's the opposite of random. Joe Kent was number one on the list of people they wanted to knock off, people who believe in our neocon foreign policy. They wanted Joe Kent out because he could stand up and say, I actually know. I've got the receipts. My wife was killed in Syria. You had to take that guy out. And Nick Fuentes, this child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, is participating in a super PAC to bump off Joe Kent.
Okay.
Like, I've been around this my whole life. I know what that is.
That was such a mask slipping moment for him to wage war on all, because ultimately we're all weird kids that are doing this, from somebody's barn dominium or from somebody's basement. We're live streaming from hotel rooms. It's this little scrappy endeavor. We don't even, Nick Fuentes, us, we can't even imagine institutional power, like what that would do for our operations. It's this little thing that we do on laptops and everything like that. So for him to go after this little kid, he's 26, by the way, 26. This little gay kid in Chicago, like Chicago doesn't matter, like none of us matter. It was just this hyper elitist moment that everybody should be deeply insulted by. And it was a mask off moment for Tucker, a mask off moment for Candace, who can no longer relate to the people. And I think that the backlash from this, they totally deserve. I think that this might be career ending stuff for them.
Yeah. Well, and it's not only that, but this is like spawned accounts. Like one of them is this Uncommon Sense account on Twitter. And they've started going back through Tucker's catalog and posting his videos from like the late 90s and the early 2000s. And you can see very clearly that Tucker Carlson is running a script. And here, Nick played it on a show the other night. We've got the clip. You can see very clearly how Tucker Carlson was deployed to take down Pat Buchanan in the same way, almost verbatim, as how he's going after Nick. So let's take a look at this.
I mean, this is part of the sad thing about Pat Buchanan, as far as I'm concerned.
The sad thing is, and I know that no one who watches him will believe me,
Pat does raise issues that I think are important.
Doesn't mean everything he says is false. It doesn't mean he's not talented. He's enormously talented. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. I'm not attacking him personally.
I mean, I think that, the sovereignty of the American military, et cetera, I mean, these are not just crank issues.
It's young white men who've been totally cut out of our economy, attacked mercilessly. I mean, they really are the victims, and they're desperate, and no one speaks for them. So they go to Fuentes because he's like incredibly articulate, and they think he's our leader.
But unfortunately, Pat Buchanan raises them in a way that I think is discredited.
But he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices.
Pat Buchanan is part of the reason it's so hard to have that conversation, because he discredits it by his presence.
That's a campaign to destroy credible voices on the right. And Fuentes is part of it.
And that he believes in conspiracies, and that he believes that the Jews are this sinister, secretly organized force trying to affect American politics. And those aren't discussions I think normal people, sober people should be having.
Anyway, like, who is this kid exactly? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's just an accident that the guy exclusively goes after people who are in roughly the same. And then he gets up there and he's like, making Holocaust jokes.
When attacked, he can always fall back on the line, well, the tiny cabal that controls American politics doesn't like me because I speak truth to power. This is actually, incidentally, almost verbatim what he said the other day, that I offend the plutocracy, that I'm a wanted man by the inside the Beltway people, and in every sense cast himself as a victim who is sort of a Karen Silkwood of politics, someone who's so truthful that he's being hunted down by the conspiracy that runs Washington. I mean, it's all a bit much.
Except that he was like literally being hunted down.
Yeah.
Not only Pat Buchanan, but Nick Fuentes. Do you remember? Somebody showed up at his house with a fucking gun to kill him.
Yeah, if you want to play clip 4, he's very concerned that he's going to get knocked off. And
I'm
I think
concerned that he's
I
going
am
to get
too.
knocked off.
I have actually been praying for Nick all week because he really might be in the line of fire on this one.
Yeah, here we go. Let me cue this up a little bit better. Boop, 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 boop.
I am overdosing on red pills, and you are not going to stop me. If you kill me, you will not stop me. And genuinely, when I research this stuff, I get scared because I think that's their next move, is to try to mess with me in some escalating way. Because they do see me as a problem. They say I'm getting too popular, I'm getting too famous, I'm breaching containment. And now they deploy Candace Owens. At the peak of my popularity, she comes in out of the blue to invite me on her show and do this hit job. And then a week later, she goes on Tucker, and they collude to do this hit job. And this isn't going to work. No one in the comments on Tucker's channel is buying it. I don't know what they'll do next, but I'll tell you one thing. That's the worst thing they could do, because when they do that, I become a martyr. I didn't start this show to start lying or selling out now or playing nice. And that's from the basement-dwelling, incel, white male, loser child from Chicago. You're welcome.
Oh,
I am.
Man. Unbelievable courage.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I'd be frightened too.
Yeah. I mean, there are times when I start Googling this shit, especially up here, because there's a lot of mafia connections with North Idaho that remain unexplored. And I want to do a podcast about it at some point. But it's like, you start looking into it and it's like, holy shit, this like Democrat donor literally is like a CIA kid, the same way that I'm talking about Judy Meyer, Steve Meyer's wife. Steve Meyer, of course, is on like the board of the bank up here. He owns the biggest real estate development company up here. And Judy Meyer's father was best friends with Howard Rocky Stone, who ran the Russia desk at the CIA and helped plan the overthrow of Mossadegh. And these are the people that own most of the real estate up here. They own the land underneath the federal courthouse, and there are ties, deep ties between them and like the JDL, the JDO, the ADL,
Well,
and it's
lucky
like,
for
holy
us,
shit, these people are mobsters.
Lucky for us, we're just not that famous.
Yeah, true.
Nick is clearly over the target though.
Yes.
And I'm definitely concerned about it. So why would they do this? Why would they do this? It seems to me like they literally got the call.
Well, they miscalculated.
Well, I don't know that they miscalculated because
no, they definitely miscalculated. They thought that they could do a little hit job between Candace Owens having him on the show and then this little 6-minute interaction on Tucker Carlson's show. And they thought that they could do a hit job on Nick and take him out. But this is like really the first time that he's even been given oxygen in this way by Tucker. And Nick turned around 6 hours later and unloaded a 3-hour monologue that'll like bring you to tears if you listen to it. And it's over. I mean, Tucker Carlson's a fraud. I think he was sheep dipped.
Yeah, you're probably right. But he does say in his discussion with Candace, like, I know I am in for a world of hurt just by saying this. So I have to believe in some way they anticipated that this was going to have massive backlash.
So just so people are aware of what I'm saying, sheep dipping in the context of espionage refers to a process where a member of a military or intelligence agency is given a new, often civilian identity or to operate covertly. That includes officially removing them from their original military or intelligence affiliation and assigning them a new plausible civilian role. Like, I don't know, being a journalist. You know, so Tucker Carlson goes, he applies to the CIA, and he, even though he's CIA royalty, doesn't get hired. And then they go on to like put him on at the Weekly Standard and all of these neocon think tanks, and then CNN and now Fox. And, you know, we know about Operation Mockingbird. We know that the CIA has an octopus arm in every media outlet, every mainstream media outlet. And we're supposed to sit back and just like take his word for it that he was not accepted to the CIA. Bullshit. And then he's going around globetrotting with Putin and with the president of Iran and getting all of these high profile, what else did he do? I think there was something in Germany. He was in Hungary. And it's like, come on, bro. This is bullshit. You are working for intelligence in one way or another, either as an asset or an agent. Distinction really without a difference at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we know that his positions are astroturfed. We can see that. It's quite obvious. He says also in this interview that he's been the biggest advocate of racial equality throughout his career.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this. I'm like, but you've been appealing to ethno-nationalists over the last year pretty extensively. Not just dog whistling. He's been more directly appealing to ethno-nationalists. I don't know. I felt like this was such a betrayal for his base. And who's eating this up? This is just Boomer Con Inc. that is still finding this appealing. Cameron, do you have anything to say about this?
Certainly not as much as you guys. Look, I'm not familiar with the particulars the way that you and Dave are. And obviously you have strong opinions about it, having been in this space a long time. My question is always when these stories come about, is this nothing? Is it something? Is it everything? I don't think it's everything. I would not go as far as either of you. Admittedly, I'm not in this space. I don't follow most of these folks. I'm just focused on other things. So maybe it is, but from my vantage point, it's clear that there's at least a few things going on here. The first is there's a turf war, and this turf war is about a changing media landscape and demographic. And it does appear as though Fuentes, either directly or indirectly, is at the vanguard of a major shift in the nature of media, right? This is not simply about the message either, by the way. This is about the delivery mechanism. I mean, you said it yourself. As soon as Tucker and Candace posted what they did, sort of an army, right? A swarm attack was launched against them online. Fuentes doesn't represent a corporation. There's no corporate structure behind him, at least as far as I understand. How was that sort of thing executed? Well, it appears to be organic or decentralized. That in and of itself is frightening to the establishment, to the legacy press, right? Which has operated with tremendous resources, financing, power in a way that was unchallengeable. Well, that power is being challenged. So that's the first thing, is that there's a turf war going on. The second thing is, and as you guys know, I sort of look at social media differently than you do. I sort of see social media and in real life, if you will, in an interactive dynamic. So I see a kind of convergence. It does seem as though the escalation, that's the term I think Fuentes used, the escalation that's happening online between Fuentes and Tucker and a number of people, frankly, does mirror what's happening politically, does mirror what's happening on the street. In other words, there seems to be a convergence of battle lines that are heating up, that are escalating. I think that's noteworthy. So it's not just a social media squabble. It seems to be more than that. Like I said, it's something. Maybe it's not everything, but it's definitely something. These battle lines are not just political, by the way. They're playing out in the media. They're playing out on the street. And obviously, there's some kind of deeper battle that's going on as well. So that's the second thing, is that there does appear to be an echo effect beyond social media. And maybe that's what's being channeled too, right? It's a dynamic process. And the third is, I think, and this is something I've talked about a lot, I think what we're seeing is the birth of a new kind of politics. Look, these people, respectively, none of them are elected officials, but they all wield tremendous power. What exactly that power is, we don't really know yet, right? And obviously, the two of you seem to think that the power structure is very sensitive and afraid of that power. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not convinced they fully understand it yet. But I do think that the power, that energy that does appear to be with Fuentes, that's growing. And eventually, and this is my broader thesis, that's going to translate into some impactful political movement on the street. And I think we're a part of that. I think this is a much bigger thing that's happening. So from my vantage point, that's what this is really about. As to, the dynamics, the players and the rest, I don't know. I'll defer to you two.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's really interesting because like when you get into, and I don't have all of the details, right? Like I don't have all of, I have like a thumbnail sketch, maybe like kind of through some like rose color glasses or something. I don't know.
Hey.
But, there are these players behind the scenes like Rebecca Mercer, right? And Mercer funded Tucker Carlson. She funded a lot of other kind of like right-wing documentary groups and things like this. And Rebecca Mercer is the kind of representative for the Russian Jewish element in the Republican Party. And then you've got the Israeli Jewish element in the Republican Party. And so you've got these different figureheads and factions that are kind of like fighting for attention. And it's like, what's going on here? Because there is intelligence
Dave,
behind Tucker and Candace and Milo. He's another operative in this whole thing. And of course, it's very interesting to see like a day later that Milo and Candace kissed and made up on air, which is odd to say the least. And so there is a deep fight, I think, by foreign actors, both Israeli and Russian, for control of the conservative movement in America. Yeah. And I think that's clear. And I Nick is the only one that isn't backed by some foreign state. He's a kid in his basement, a disaffected young white man in Chicago that's funded by super chats and hat sales, even though they don't, he doesn't have a bank account. And so I think that the fact that against the odds that this is concerning to the establishment and he is going to win.
Yeah, look, I don't see it in those terms. I understand that you do, and both of you are very sort of politically focused, and I understand that. But when I got into this business of YouTube, it was something I did reluctantly. I don't particularly care for the medium, but somebody told me, he said, you have to understand that social media is a feminine exercise. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because what you're doing when you present is you're trying to make an emotional connection with the audience. And that is a feminine enterprise more than it is a masculine one. And there's two components to that, right? The first is that there's the emotion itself, and emotions are programmed in us. We have no control over them. They're unconscious. But then there's the feeling, and the feeling is the subjective, conscious understanding of that emotional distemperament. And I think what you're seeing here is that there is an emotional storm. There's no question about it. This is something I've talked about for 2 years since I started my channel that's happening in young men. This goes beyond conservative politics too. It's not just young men. Young men are at the vanguard of it. But I do think that the power structure is getting the sense that they're losing control of the masses, that the animal spirits are in a chaotic frenzy right now and unified in only one particular way. And this is where, Dave, I think you're exactly right. And that is that they don't trust anything. They don't trust the media. They don't trust figures associated with the media. They increasingly don't trust Trump, as we're going to talk more about in a moment, because he's now tarred with that broad brush of corruption, right? So we're in a dangerous time right now because that legitimate authority, that frame of reference that people once had, that's completely gone. And so what people are doing is they're migrating towards people like Fuentes, among others, I think, that are channeling their feelings correctly, that are channeling that feminine energy. And the fear is that that feeling that's expressed online is going to start manifesting itself on the streets. And I think that's exactly where we are headed. That's what they fear. But I don't know that they understand that they have gamed the system in ways that people credit them with doing. I wouldn't go that far.
This is an emotional thing. Did you see the Studio Ghibli thing?
Yeah.
It actually made me cry.
Get out.
I swear.
Really?
Yeah. I've watched it like 3 times now.
Well, we're going to make it 4. So buckle up,
Cameron, have you
everybody.
seen this?
I don't think
I
he
have a
has.
feeling that he's
No.
not going to be swayed by this, but it is feminine. There's a feminine energy to the
Well,
emotional
but-
manipulation here.
But this is the thing. I mean, like, this is like one of the things, like when I don't want to say too much, but when I've engaged in, making political propaganda, this is what you do. You've got to tickle the emotions. You've got to get people to have like a gut lizard brain reaction. And that's something that on the right, there hasn't been. It's always been
Are
like,
you telling me this didn't make you cry?
No.
Oh.
No, but it was very good. I mean, it made me feel like, hell yeah, let's
Yeah.
go, Anyway, let's take a look.
Does
I did.
or had a conversation with him. What did you think of that? What do you think of him?
My experience with Nick Fuentes is that he's a terrible person and a terrible human being.
But he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices.
I can confirm he's dishonest.
This child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, young white men who've been totally cut out of our economy. I mean, they really are the victims, and they're desperate, and no one speaks for them. So they go to Fuentes because he's like incredibly articulate, and they think he's our leader. But in one of the saddest ironies of all, like, he's acting against your interests, actually.
But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them. He says Nick Fuentes is leading all of the disaffected young white men. I am a disaffected young white man. I was a precocious, intelligent, young white college student who went to Boston University, who was pro-Trump and red-pilled by Trump and animated by Trump's message of America first. And I asked questions about Israel, and I was punished for it. I did it years before Tucker Carlson started talking about Israel last year. And I sacrificed, and I was targeted by the ADL, by the SPLC, by the federal government, by the conservative movement that both Candace and Tucker were a part of. He's lonely, he's weird, he lives in a basement. That's a lot of people because of the problems you claim to care about. Do you care about Klarna and people going into debt to order pizzas and home ownership being impossible? Or do you think that's a contemptible, low-status thing to be ridiculed and mocked? What is wrong with being from Chicago? What is wrong with being weird? What is wrong with living in your basement? I'm the inauthentic person. I am that person. I am a spokesman for the disaffected white man because I am one, and you two are not. My dad didn't even graduate college. My mother's father was a garbage man in Chicago, and he committed suicide. He was a veteran of World War II. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. Chicago is America. That's an American story.
Man, that is
It's powerful.
powerful stuff.
Did that make you feel anything, Cameron?
Cameron?
I mean, look, I've been producing content for this audience for a long time, and I've read some pretty disturbing stuff. I made a lot of videos addressing it, and there is a psychical change that's happening. I've talked about it before as sort of an alchemical transformation in the psyches of young men, but it's not unique to the United States, right? This is happening across the Western world. Wherever there are white countries, there is some kind of psychological demon that is terrorizing the white male population. It's played itself out in the sexual marketplace, politically, culturally. Fuentes approximates his experience, but I think it resonates because it is universal. The issue is, okay, we understand that energy. We've got to translate that into something productive and something transformational. And I think that's the next step. And ultimately, that's going to part ways with the conservative movement. The conservative movement is irrelevant. It doesn't matter anymore. It's over. What's new, what's coming, is embedded in this sort of universal distemperament that is, like I said, I think it's on the cusp of operationalizing in the real world. That's going to be the key to the future of the West. Nothing that's happening in DC or Brussels or in the two parties, it's over. That's all done.
Yeah.
Right. And this is about elites, right? So as the Western world teeters on the edge of collapse, we're watching this chasm between the populace and the elites' understanding of the situation at hand. And the elites, they're all living in homogenous, white communities. They're largely able to ignore these myriad problems that multiculturalism is causing. They don't have to deal with any of the crime. But they are consistently branding these emerging issues as problems with the culture or lack of integration. And I think that we're seeing that. We talked about this a little bit. Was this last week that we watched the Jubilee with the chick from John Birch Society?
Yes.
I saw more of this week, and I wanted to talk about that as well. If you could pull up 5, please. So this is from a Now in England conference held by the Roger Scruton Foundation regarding what it means to be English. It was so excellent. So listen to this excellent question that correctly identifies the demographic issues as the culprit. This is clip 5.
Just building on the question that's just been asked, it seems like a common thread through all your answers is that there are political and democratic solutions to the problems we face today, and that the political future of England is inherently tied to our democracy. But my reading of English history tells me that English rights and English democracy exists to reconcile differences within a society. But I wonder what happens when those differences become irreconcilable because of fundamental and rapid demographic changes. Danny, you've talked about localism. I'm sorry to say that in many of our towns and cities, problems we face would be exacerbated by localism. Despite my accent, I grew up in Rotherham. I've seen firsthand how demographic shifts can exercise a really pernicious political influence. So my question is, if we reach a juncture where democracy becomes a zero-sum game between different ethnic and religious blocs, what feasible future is there for it? And I'm sorry to end on a
122.
skeptical note.
Yeah, that's it. All
Yep,
right,
that's
there
good.
we
And
go.
then I was watching this, and who emerges next to ask an equally good question, but our very own Sargon of Akkad.
Interesting.
Carl Benjamin's next, yep.
You want to play it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the question of demographics as well, because it seems to loom over everything that the panel is talking about, and yet it goes sort of unsaid. And I think one of the corollary questions to follow on from that gentleman's is, if anyone can become English, what prevents these new demographics that have come into England from simply saying, we're English too? And so the concern about the white British becoming a minority in their own homeland, well, if they're all English people because they say they are, then what was our concern in the first place?
You want to play through?
Yeah.
127.
Yeah.
You want me to pause it?
No, it's okay. We can play through.
We have to let Tom go take a call and then have a, of course.
Oh no, he's getting the phone
Getting
call.
that call is, yeah.
So 3 quite closely themed questions there on demographics and sectarianism. Again, I'll move
Because that's
from
all
right to
anybody
left, which
wants
might give
to
us
talk
enough
about.
time to get Tom back.
Okay. So I think that, thank you all.
This
And
is Danny
the pause
Kruger.
for that middle question is, instructive of the way our debate is moving, and I detect a very strong sense of a desire for urgent action to restore the basis of our politics. Otherwise, we're going to lose it altogether. And the onus is on all of us, but particularly on people in Parliament and candidates, to explain how. So, without talking at length, I'll just say this quickly. I think there is something distinct about membership of this nation. It's not something you can just buy like a visa or claim after a year or two of settlement. You have to meaningfully commit to the institutions and the values of our country.
No.
And how we do that and demand it and demonstrate it is a huge new challenge for us, because it's never been necessary before. So we have to be much more explicit about the expectations on incomers and on their children. And we start by radically reducing the numbers of incomers in order to try and get a grip on the overall problem. I think the answer to the question, or to the challenge, traditionally the British system was very good at reconciling differences. What if it isn't anymore? Well, that's true. We've been here before, though. And the way to resolve a culture war is to win it. That's what Elizabeth I did. She recognised an enormous division within our country, and she didn't try and weave a way through it. She asserted extremely clearly that this nation was going to be Protestant, And that was the expectation of all participants in the civic realm. And in consequence, and over time, it became possible to bring civil peace again, and over a very long time to start tolerating difference and dissent once more. But we have to be very, very explicit and clear about what it is that we expect, and to use the power of the state in that regard. And I take the point about devolution enabling segregation and sectarianism. That's why devolution can only be in the realm of the powers that are appropriate to it. Genuine principles of belonging and the expectations on citizens, that isn't something that should be decided locally. So participation in the central functions of citizenship, including in the education system, needs to be directed from above.
Okay, that's good.
This is boring. He put me to sleep.
But he says so many talking points there that have been making me furious lately. He talks about using a top-down approach, focusing on the state, using state powers to enforce cultural norms. He doesn't say anything about race. And then he talks about moving to a society where there can be more tolerance for differing opinions after they're able to streamline the culture through integration. It's like every single thing he said is wrong. And this is an MP that a lot of conservatives would look to. This is just so asinine. Like none of them are ever going to answer any questions about demographics. He didn't answer either of their questions at all. It's total elitist mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. So one thing to note is that what Dave said is exactly right. If you listen to that, it'll put you to sleep, because what you're seeing on that panel, and if you scan back to it, Dave, you'll see everybody sitting up there, aside from the moderator, is old. They're anemic. They have no new ideas. They've lost control of their country and they have no idea what to do about it. And they probably don't even understand a lot of what the hell we're talking about. Conversely, if you look at the audience, who are they? They're young white men, not unlike the dichotomy between Fuentes and Tucker and Candace again, right? So again, you sort of have this clash. In the United States, it's definitely between the establishment and the vanguard of sorts. A very similar dynamic is happening in England. In this case, you can see it very clearly. The people in the audience, they're the future, and they're young men, okay? There was an article that was written about this by Morgoth.
Yes. He's fantastic. I've had him on my channel before.
Very good article that I highly recommend you read. It's called "The Incident at the Roger Scruton Foundation Conference," which was addressing what we just saw. I just want to read a couple segments of it. He says, the younger generation of the British right wants answers from the mainstream British right to existential problems, in large part created by the mainstream British right, and they're not getting them. However, the very fact that they're present, suited up, and openly demanding such answers seems to rattle and scare the mainstream, and rightly so. And he continues, what I find fascinating about all of this is that the emerging generation of young men on the British right often appears like an elite in waiting. This, even though they're intellectually aligned with more traditional working class nationalist movements. Suddenly, from the perspective of the old guard, the radical element is not wearing a bomber jacket outside of Greggs and Burley, but right there in the conference room with a well-fitting suit and clipped posh accent. Now, I call attention to that because oftentimes when we have these discussions, people will say to me, well, who's the new elite? Who's the new vanguard? Well, look, it's folks like Carl Benjamin. I'm not saying these people are beyond reproach. Nobody's beyond reproach. But there is an emergent intellectual vanguard of content creators online that are actively fanning the flames of resistance against the old guard conservatives who, as we've established, they're completely anemic. They've lost control of the conservative movement. It is the same dynamic, except applied in a British lens. Now, the reason why I've emphasized and I've encouraged this program to talk about England is threefold. There's a few key things that I think are very important for us. The first is that the British are essentially a leading indicator of where we're headed. Okay, now some people will tell you they're a decade ahead of where we are. I don't think so. I think you're talking about months ahead of where we are. That's the first piece. The second is that they are so close to us in so many ways. They share a very similar history. They both, like us, live in this sort of mystique of World War II. Everything that the British political class articulates is rooted, is framed in the dichotomy of World War II. And we, the Allies, fought the good fight. We prevailed over the evil Nazis, and the Nazis were wrong. And therefore, anything that they articulated that they believed in was wrong. Our politics are exactly the same. Secondly, their economy is exactly our economy. Yes, it's a much smaller scale and a much smaller country, but like the United States, Great Britain has deindustrialized. They have embraced the free market, free trade zealotry. They called it Thatcherism. We called it Reaganomics. It's basically the same crap. They, like us, are governed by the banking cartels, right? They call it the City of London. We call it Wall Street. Again, it's a mirror image of us. And then thirdly, as you saw there, their elites are completely worthless. They're intellectually bankrupt. They have no more credibility. And the entire political system is empty. There's nothing there, all right? It's a vacuum. And that vacuum is going to be filled by some of the young men that you saw on that screen, as it's being filled in this country by the Groypers, by people in the manosphere, so forth and so on. Some of these things I've talked about. We are at a tipping point, in other words, and we're going to follow in the same path as Great Britain. The other point I want to make on this is that there is a very real organic nationalist movement that's taking place in Great Britain. It has not organized itself yet. It has emerged spontaneously, which is, I think, in a very similar vein to what you're going to see happen here. But it is increasingly in conflict with the immigrant population in Great Britain. And you're going to see violence in that country. I don't know how explosive it's going to be, but it's coming. So all of that is to say that as things get worse, right, more and more people are getting engaged. This is the opposite of what a lot of black-pilled people have been saying. They've been saying that it's too late, it's hopeless, there's too many immigrants here, et cetera, et cetera. Well, England and I think France and Germany and other European countries increasingly suggest the opposite. In other words, there's a kind of conflagration that's happening across the Western world. So as Great Britain goes, as they wake up, that's also going to affect us here in the United States.
Absolutely. If only somebody had warned us.
It's so, this is one of the reasons why I think people get blackpilled, is because, you're born into this society, you're born into this struggle, and then you go on YouTube and you start Googling and you start learning the real history. And then you find people like Enoch Powell, who I hope everybody in our audience knows who he is. He was a member of parliament back in the 1960s and 70s. And everything that's happening in England today, in Europe, in America, was foretold. He gave a very famous speech called the Rivers of Blood speech, which everybody, that is your homework for this week. You need to go read that speech. But here's just like a little 45-second excerpt from an interview that he did in 1969. Okay? This wasn't last year or 10 years. This was 1969.
Unless something drastic is done, there will be a colored majority in the foreseeable future over large areas, and there will be the whip hand over the white man held by the immigrant. This is foreseeable. This is foreseeable in a town where already a tenth and eighth is in immigrant occupation, where a quarter of the births are immigrant, where the area, naturally, it's inevitable, occupied by the immigrants is extending, where the proportion of immigrants in various employments is constantly increasing. This point is bound to come where the majority in those occupations, in those areas, and they will be large areas, tips the other way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Boom. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible, the foresight that these guys had, but they've been regarded as kooks and cranks and called white supremacists, fascists, and all of this bullshit for the past 50, 60 years. But they were right, and the liberals were wrong, period.
Absolutely.
And there's no more debate about it. And, to Cameron's point, talking about this whole post-war consensus thing that both the United States and England are built on, that is crumbling. I mean, I don't mean to say it, but I was at that Internet Money Conference. I didn't say it. And, it was just amazing to me to walk in to what I thought was like a finance kind of conference. And they're up on stage deconstructing the post-war consensus in a room full of 30,000 people. And it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What is going on? Because that, you don't think of like the Bitcoin conference as like a giant political rally or dealing with like, political issues. But there was 3 back-to-back speeches, I think on day 2 or day 3, where they were going on about how the post-war consensus is dead, it's dying, it hasn't served us well, and we're going to move on with a new form of consensus.
Well, the source of this is the resentment from the populace that the elites will not recognize the racial reality of the situation that we're in. And it's just creating this brewing resentment. And so they're like, okay, how did this start? We have to deal with this. And the irony of this, of that clip that we just watched with those British elites, is that it doesn't help them to not recognize the racial reality of the situation that they're in. I have this clip 7. So even this guy that grew up in England, he's Chinese, he's talking about how he's going to go back to China because other races have an understanding that they are really not part of the cultures, even if they're born here. It's only the white people that will even entertain this racial integration on this level. Can we play clip 7?
Watching all this is Daniel.
It's everywhere. UK is just a magnet for everything, isn't it?
He grew up here, works here, and is seeing this again and again.
They've got watchers on the streets and everything.
How does that make you feel actually saying that?
Well, it doesn't make you feel safe. You're thinking about maybe going back to Hong Kong or...
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Dire streets, isn't it? The country at the moment,
All this because of illegal cigarettes. And many here were too scared to speak out.
Just this next one
One
real
shop
quick.
worker witnessed an acid attack. Another would only talk if we didn't show her face.
There's no control. Once one of them gets in, all the rest get in. They're dealing drugs.
Does this feel like your home, this high street now?
Not so much now. Not like it used to. No.
That's okay.
Wow.
This doesn't feel like your home because it's not your home.
True.
You've taken it, you tried to turn it into some semblance of where you came from, and then things got out of control because we tolerated your presence in our countries. It's amazing to witness this reality that we as white people will not acknowledge, but witness it in the minority communities in our countries. It's like, come on.
I have got an unscripted clip that I think kind of pertains to this. So we're gonna go to this.
Who's this guy with the good, excellent mustache?
Excellent. He's Indian. Take it back.
That guy's Indian?
70% of the motels in the country are under Patel ownership. What happened was a small number of Patels came into the United States in the early 70s, the refugees. They realized that if we buy a really small motel, 10, 12, 14 room motel, the family can live in 1 or 2 rooms and the family can do all the work.
It's a job and a house together.
Yeah, so basically cooking, cleaning, front desk, laundry. And because they had no costs, they were able to charge nightly rates that were lower than all the neighboring motels. So what would happen is the Patel-owned motel would be running 100% occupancy. The other motels couldn't match that rate because they'd lose money. And as their nephew came of age, they would help him out to buy his own motel. And then the nephew would get that going, and then the next one, the next one. You run this for 50 years, and they've actually gone up market now. So a lot of the Hiltons, Marriotts, Westons, if you really look, you'll find it's under Patel ownership. And then they went into 7-Eleven.
That's
70%
how they
of
did
the
it.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And they're like, this is actively happening across America. This is happening in England. This is happening all over Western Europe. And at some point, when is it going to stop? Because Enoch Powell, in hindsight, he was the reasonable one. He was the bleeding heart. He's looking at this like, if we let this happen and if we let this go on unabated, there will be blood. That was the whole point of the Rivers of Blood speech.
Yes.
And here we are, 60 years later. It's continued to go on. Nobody's stopped it. It's only gotten worse. Where do you think this is going?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people that are, you're just being apocalyptic. You guys in Cam, you're just like, no way. That's never going to happen in America.
But what is the next step, though? It's the obvious outcome of this. It's the only outcome.
Well, and it's not just that, but there is a history of this. And if I may take a 30-second detour, there is a history of this specifically in Idaho. Right at the founding of the state, the primary economy of Idaho was mining, right? And so all the mine owners had these German, Irish, and Italian mine workers. They paid them $3.50 a day, which, by the way, in inflation-adjusted terms, that was like $86,000 a year in today's money. And at one point, they tried to cut the amount of money that they paid 50 cents per day, so down to $3 a day. Well, nobody wanted that. Nobody worked. They went on strike. The mine owners then immediately started bringing in black and Chinese workers and moving them into the towns. They were called scab workers. And the unions, which were made up of exclusively white people, Italian, Irish, German, would block the scabs from going to work. And then the mine owners hired a militia, the Pinkertons, the Pinkertons and the Field Detective Service. The Pinkertons eventually became the FBI. And they would do union busting so that these immigrant laborers, these other immigrant laborers that were non-white, would go in and they would work for cheaper. And eventually it gets to the point where it boiled over and it caused something called the labor wars, which people in this country just weren't taught about in school. But that happened from 1892 to basically 1899. It started right up in Gem, Idaho, up by Wallace, and it spread like wildfire throughout Nevada, Montana, Utah, the whole West was engaged in like almost a decade-long war because they were trying to replace the white working class with Chinese people, with black people, and it led to violence. Like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? It's like, it's not like this is happening in a vacuum. This has happened before. Right. We know exactly where it's, and the tactics are exactly the same too. Like, you can look at what was going on at the time when the Pinkertons were called in up here in Coeur d'Alene. They sent in this agent, Charles Serengo, the cowboy detective, who infiltrated the Gem Miners Union, which was an Irish union, and he basically convinced them to hijack a train, fill it with dynamite, and blow up a mine. And it's the exact same playbook as used by the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case.
I'm so happy you brought this up because I was going to nix clip 8. But now
it pays to not read the outline.
See, it does. Okay, so this is David Betts, professor of war in the modern world at King's College London. So he was on The Forge last week. This is a super interesting discussion. I encourage you, all of you, to watch it. But he was discussing the kinds of people that you need to have any kind of movement that opposes the status quo. And so he talks about the importance of the infiltrators and the people that'll blow stuff up and things like that. Let's watch to 2235.
Oh, okie dokie.
To break it down a bit further, I think for any anti-status quo movement, for any seriously anti-status quo movement, I'm trying to avoid the words revolutionary or guerrilla or whatever, but effectively it's an anti-status quo. You need passive supporters, right? These are people who are not necessarily going to do anything for you except listen or perhaps repeat your words, but maybe not much going further than that. You need active supporters. These are people who will listen and repeat and perhaps a bit more
and super chat.
Actively, right? Energetically. They might also provide on a sub rosa level, provide information or protection, right? So it might be someone, say they're a county clerk, or your local librarian or something like that. These are not like grisly guerrilla warriors. They're not militants with bandoliers and the like. But they're people who have access to resources and information, which are very, very powerful. In fact, for the most part, they're much more powerful than information is usually more powerful than muscle. So you need a group of active supporters, which is a subset of your passive supporters.
Correct.
Then you need another group, which I would call, just for purposes of for ease, call them your adherents. The adherents are people. This is a range of people, but these are people who actually do stuff. They will go out onto the street and fight. They'll blow things up.
Disavow.
They'll become interrogators. They'll become assassins.
Also
they'll become
saboteurs.
Saboteurs, whatever. So these are people, active supporters, who will do physical things for you.
Yes.
Okay, that's a subset of your active support. And then you need your leaders, okay? There's one other group that is relevant, and that I would call is like your prospects. Prospects are intermediate between active supporters and adherents. And these are people who have been active supporters that want to or express the desire to get involved, to become adherents, but you don't fully trust enough. Right.
I thought this was really important because I was like, this is a way to lay out for people to see in a more concrete way, where do they fit in to the movement? Don't blow anything up. Don't kill anybody.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No, disavow. We don't need violence.
No violence. Never any reason for violence. But I thought that this was very helpful. It's like, look at your life now. Look at what you can do and how much you're willing to give up, how much heat you're willing to take, and think about where you fit into the movement. I just love this discussion. Thank you so much for saying that to me, Cameron.
Yeah, look, it's important. I mean, frankly, I was surprised that it was permitted for mass distribution, in part because he very incisively gives a diagnosis of England that's pretty unassailable at this stage. I mean, at one point in the interview, he basically says that the path to civil war in England is inevitable. That's a powerful statement from an academic. This is not some guy, some advocate on Twitter, right, evangelizing a particular revolutionary propaganda. He's just assessing objectively the situation. And I think there's a growing suspicion that things are getting out of control among the elites. The issue is that they don't know what the hell to do about it, in part because they're not elites, right? They're peacetime elites. These are financial elites, people that have profited from a grift-based system. Those kind of folks are not dynamic. They can't change course. They can't reverse gear, right? There's no concept of the gray. For them, it's just virtue signal, right? Or it's used a talking point. This is sort of what you're seeing from our dear president, and it's part of the reason why he's faltering. All that is to say, however, that we are on track, there's no question about it, for some broader, spontaneous, organic network effect. And for those of you that keep asking, right, where's the new party? Where are the new leaders? Look, all of those things are happening outside the political system, as you just saw in that video conference from England, because the political system is completely hollowed out. And this is when you get a danger of real revolution, because the system cannot self-correct in any meaningful sense. There's something else, too, that I think is very important to note, and that is that, you know, we spend a lot of time on this program talking about political issues, racial issues, culture, so forth and so on. But the economic component here is extremely, extremely important. There was a study that was just released. I think it showed 62% of high earners, so these are people with salaries of $300,000 a year or more, are having difficulty paying their credit card debt.
What?
Now I say that in part because there is a kind of migration of the sentiments at the street level, right? It's a term I keep using on purpose. There is a frustration, an anger, a sort of paycheck to paycheck experience that's migrating from the lowest income levels or lower middle class levels to the highest levels. And this is hitting its stride in all of these spheres. It's an economic experience. It's a racial experience. It's a cultural experience. And that means you're going to start to see people with money and power that will effectively defect from the legacy system because they find it intolerable too. Now, again, we're not there yet, but we're getting closer to all of this. And it's so interconnected that it's dangerous, right? Because if the UK financial system blows up, that's going to affect the Eurozone. That's going to affect the Eurodollar system, and it will in turn affect us here in the United States and vice versa. So we're all sort of swimming in the same swim lane, and we all sink or we swim together. And I think that mentality is what's going to spur this organic network effect, this new nationalism that I've been talking about. We all have to realize that we're going to have to build new organizations, new community action-like groups along the lines that David Betts said, because the political system is gone. It's over. There is no release valve in any way, shape, or form coming from the political structure, from democracy. Something new is going to take place. And that's scary, to be sure.
It is. And we all had such high hopes. We heard Nick talk about, giving up everything to be red pilled by Trump in 2016. We had high hopes that there was going to be some institutional revolution, that they were going to save us, that they were going to expand the middle class, protect the middle class. They were going to protect us from demographic changes. Obviously, that's failed. And this week, I have seen Trump do this thing that he does over and over, where he can feel the heat. He can feel the heat. He feels like he's totally losing control of his base. He's even told his base that he doesn't want their support anymore, right? And he had this whole horrible poll come out this week. This is from The Hill, if you'll pull that up, Dave. The poll, which was released Tuesday morning, found that among 14 prominent figures, Trump's net favorable rating was negative 16 points, with 41% of respondents having a favorable view of the president, 57% saying the opposite. Another 2% had no opinion. I think he was polling, AOC was polling better. Mm-hmm. It's just abysmal. And he is actively trying to rectify this, but what he views probably as a betrayal of his base through these small nods to the ethnocentric people that got him elected. Did you see these series of tweets, Dave? It's 9 and 10. But he's just doing these. This says immediate policy avalanche. Policy is now moving forward without court interference. Birthright citizenship, sanctuary city funding cuts, refugee resettlement suspension, federal transgender surgery funding stop. Let's play this and then we'll talk about it.
Let's cue it up.
Because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now properly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she can talk as long as she wants because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant.
He really sounds like he's
old
slowing
and
down.
slowing down. Let's go right into 10, and then we can discuss them because this is also meaningless.
Let's take a look.
Screw you, Pam
And on
Bondi.
immigration, on a side note, today marks 2,711 arrests.
That's like
nothing.
Her voice is so
grating.
Annoying.
It's annoying. Yeah.
These terrorists and these gangs. Total arrest today with HSI investigations. And thank you, Stephen Miller. Thank you to Homeland Security. Thank you to everyone working hand in hand with the FBI on all of these transnational gangs. TDA has been a huge terror to our country, as well as MS-13, as well as Sinaloa cartels. No longer. No longer.
Okay.
And
Okay,
on
Pam
immigration.
Bondi. All right. This is not what we asked for. This isn't what we asked for. What we want, you can arrest your criminals, fine. No one's gonna try to stop you. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is the day-to-day interaction with minority communities, and we're not getting mass deportations. Does he think that this is legitimately going to improve his approval rating? Because we're not getting what we want. We're not getting what we've asked for. We're not getting what we voted for. I mean, not me, because I didn't fall for it again.
But if you fell for it, you can buy a Fell For It Again award at antelopehillpublishing.com.
This is just a fraction of what needs to be done, and they're acting. This is going to change everything.
It's not going to change.
Of course,
anything.
it's nothing ever happens, and it just infuriates me that anybody is still buying this at this point.
Yeah.
Look, Trump he's a tragic figure. The danger that I see ahead is that we in the United States have a penchant for picking clowns to represent us. We really do. And my great fear is that we'll repeat that process when we'll have a tremendous opportunity to clean up the mess that the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and everybody else has either created or inherited over the last 80 years. part of the reason for that is that we seem to fetishize people like Donald Trump. And admittedly, Donald Trump was very clownish in the beginning and he didn't gain traction right away. I was very skeptical of him. And to his credit, he had the courage to tell the truth about a great many things. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump was never qualified to be president. He doesn't have any executive talent or vision. He doesn't really know how to do anything, but he was famous, he was rich, and he knows how to market himself. And that's all you see from his administration. He's constantly congratulating his administration or patting himself on the back for accomplishing something, when in reality, as you said, Rebecca, nothing is really happening. And look, his mandate was very clear. He needed to disengage from the wars overseas. Not only has he not done them, he's escalated wars overseas. I think you could make the case that Biden would have been better in terms of foreign policy than Donald Trump. And that's a scary thought, but I think you can make that case.
Yeah.
Secondly, he needed to retrench the United States fiscally. He has done no such thing. He's done the opposite. He's broken all the spending caps. He ignored whatever DOJ came up with. Yeah, he's fired some federal employees, but the fact of the matter is he needed to reorganize the government. And these are big things. They're easier said than done, but they demand a president that has executive capacity and leadership. And Donald Trump doesn't know anything about those things. He knows how to entertain you during a press conference. And that is what makes me fear the most, the future, because there are a lot of people in social media in particular who are very adept communicators. They know how to entertain you. They know how to make you feel angry or sad or what have you, but they don't actually know how to migrate or move an organization from A to B. And that's Donald Trump. So part of what we're seeing, this tragic fall of a man named Donald, who is a brand in and of itself, is that we as a culture have failed. We need to demand excellence. We need to demand somebody that has real executive capacity. And right now, we don't. We're a nation of clowns. The final thing I want to say on this is that even if Donald Trump had the executive capacity that I'm talking about, I still don't think it would be enough. We ultimately are going through some kind of end of cycle event. We're going to experience a financial crisis. We're going to experience a war overseas. And obviously, the racial issues that we have here, they're no longer about immigration. This is now about our national identity. There's simply too many foreigners living in our countries. So it was always going to degenerate into a street battle. There's no question about that. But Donald Trump could have facilitated that process. He could have tried to steer or adjust the ship in a positive direction. He has utterly failed to do that.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this Hegseth memo?
Hegseth memo?
It's sort of more of the same. It was leaked. I mean, the left's reaction to this was as expected. It was kind of like a tepid memo that I don't really think means anything. But the left is absolutely freaking out. There's a raw story about it. I guess I'll read a little bit from this and Cameron can opine. New reporting based on a leaked briefing memo from a recent meeting between high-level officials at the Department of Homeland Security and the Defense Department sparked fresh warnings on Saturday about the Trump administration's internal plans to increase its domestic use of the U.S. military. Blah, 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 blah. The document suggests that Trump's use of the military for domestic law enforcement on immigration could soon get worse. The terrifying memo, which the outlet recreated and published online with certain redactions that concealed operational and personnel details, provides a glimpse into the thinking of top officials as they seek to involve the Defense Department more deeply in those domestic operations, and it has unnerved experts who believe it portends a frightening escalation. I'm just going to go to this last. It looks plausible that the Hegseth brothers are trying to push military leaders further in involving the military in domestic law enforcement. Two experts I spoke with read the memo that way. There may be a bigger story here to get. So my reading of this was, wow, this is more of the same. I guess the Trump administration might be trying to do something to appease the populace, but they're not going to be able to do it. This was not Cameron's interpretation, and I think that he has some silver lining angle. Is that true, Cameron?
Well, look, I think what you're seeing is sort of distortion and delusion on both sides, right? So the left quite literally thinks we're living in some kind of an authoritarian state in which you've got a right-wing nationalist that's asserting his control and power. Now, obviously, that's absurd. That's not happening at all for the reasons that we just went through. At the same time, you have sort of the normie boomers that are clinging to the illusion of MAGA. Now, I think that that's fading fast, which is why the polling numbers are falling as precipitously as they are. That being said, these conversations that we're beginning to experience, and they're not easy conversations about the nature of state power and what the military is going to be used for. We didn't talk about this earlier with respect to England, but one of the questions that was asked of David Betts about this sort of burgeoning civil war and a conflict that's ethnic between the foreign population and the white British population is, well, what role does the army play? Now, David Betts said in the interview that he felt strongly that the army would not support the multiracial state to suppress its own population. The question stands here: what will the military do, or what's left of the military, and how will it play a role in retrenching American national identity or restoring America's country to its citizenry? That's very much an open question. But what's good about this is that at least we're starting to entertain the very real conversation that needs to be had about concentrating power to expel tens of millions of people who are illegally occupying our country. That's the only way to do it. There is no alternative. You can't use police action. You can't impose private legislation, right, that penalizes corporations or private companies. That's just not enough. You're going to have to militarize the scenario. And remember that this is going to extend into some kind of kinetic conflict with Mexico as well. The Mexican cartels, obviously, they have a vested interest in the human trafficking, the drug trafficking, and all the rest of it that they're facilitating across the Mexican border. That means you're going to get armed conflict. So it's a good discussion to have, because we're getting closer to the realization that, yeah, we're going to have to concentrate power and use the military. The scary part of it is, well, who exactly is controlling the military? Who's actually in it? And what are they going to do when the time comes? I can't answer that right now.
You can't? Come on, Cameron.
Now, I don't think anybody can. I don't think anybody can. And remember, a lot of these institutions have been completely hollowed out. They've been restaffed over the last several decades. I wonder about my own classmates. Where do they stand in all of this? We're going to find out, but I don't have the confidence that David Betts did about the British military. I don't know what our military is going to do.
Oh, I think we know exactly who's in control of our military, and you're looking at a picture of them right now.
Man,
it's the Israelis, it's the Zionists, it's Israel. And this is something that's interesting too. That's also happening in England. I've got this like goofy little clip, and it is goofy, but this is from England. This is a guy driving around with a squirt gun, bro. So they're waking up in England too. It says, anti-Semitism is rapidly on the rise everywhere. Now it's manifesting itself into real-life actions as these Englishmen find it funny to drive around the streets spraying Jews with water guns. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, in America, that might be illegal.
What?
Yeah, there's actually a really nice guy here in town who he drives around with all these Confederate flags on his car and like a statue of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
Like if you live up here in North Idaho, you've seen this
It's like
guy.
one of the old cop cars.
Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, there was that No Kings protest up here. Well, he was going around and he had a little super soaker and he started spraying protesters with water.
Yeah.
Well, they're charging him with battery. Like they're charging him with, I can't remember if it was a felony or if it was a misdemeanor, but
Poor guy. He just honks and waves all day long.
He honks and waves, and then people come up to him and try to give him a hard time, and he gets a squirt gun. He squirts, but don't do that. Don't do that. That might be illegal.
That single clip brought me more joy than I've experienced maybe all week.
Oh, I've got one that can do you better. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. Clips with Dave.
If you were president, what's the first thing you would do? If I was the president, the first thing I would do, I ain't gonna lie, I'm black and I'm proud, but I hate niggas though, I swear. I gotta find a way to put a restraint on some niggas, I swear to God. Cause like niggas be geeking, like a lot wrong with our country because of niggas. I swear to God, every other culture look out for themselves. Niggas be geeking, like niggas are the reason why America is the way it is. And white people too, no bullshit though. But niggas be geeking though, for real. So I gotta do something about the niggas though. I gotta keep them in line.
You know, I know that we dog on black people a lot.
I love these guys.
Black
Charleston
people are
West?
really funny.
Charleston West, if you can hear this, please come to Idaho. We'll have you on the show. That's his name, right? Charleston West?
I have no idea.
You know, the guy who's like, I don't know. He's funny. But anyway, yeah, he said that black people be geeking.
Geeking?
Geeking. They're geeking out, I guess.
What the hell does that mean, Dave?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I guess it's I would imagine that it is Ebonics for chimp out.
Oh.
Perhaps maybe that's the translation.
I couldn't even use context clues to figure out what he was saying because it was so
maybe
incoherent.
geeking. You know, yeah.
Well, you've stripped me of my ability to close out the show properly. I don't
apologize.
know how am I even going to do this now? I had like a transition. I can't.
Oh, shit.
I can't do
geeking out.
Okay.
Well, I mean, was that it? No. You've got your other segment.
I do, but
I
it
haven't read
seems
it.
ridiculous in contrast to the clip that we just watched.
No, it's fine.
What are we calling this segment? Currently, it's Blonde Banter.
Rebecca's Rants.
Rebecca's Rants is good. I'm going to change it to Rebecca's Rants. We'll get a lower third going on.
Maybe.
Today, I want to have a little discussion about where we fit into the movement and how we can energize the movement. Okay. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
You didn't hype me up before the show.
Oh, whoops. I'm supposed to show that.
What am I supposed to do?
I'm supposed to show the script.
Come on.
Oopsies.
It's obviously scripted, though.
Obviously.
But Cameron sent me a video about how to talk to the audience, and so I'm going to employ the tactics that he has given to me. All right.
That video was for me more than you, I think.
It's one person. I'm just talking to one person, she says.
1-to-1.
Wait, put that back up over here. I don't want to see Cameron's face.
What?
Okay, fine, whatever. Okay.
Oh, can I do that?
Ah.
I think I can do that.
Disaster. There we go. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. For man has closed himself up till he sees all things through narrow chinks of his cavern. This is William Blake. So imagine for a moment that you're unburdened by all of your programming. You were not taught historical revisionism. You had never been propagandized. You were allowed to develop your worldview entirely based on your experiences. No one had ever taught you that your opinions were good or bad, biased or otherwise. You have no reason not to draw conclusions as you see fit. Now go a step further. Imagine you're unencumbered by even your experience. You can transcend that. See the world as you wish it to be. Push the limits of your perception, even abandon them. Blake also said, to see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower. This perspective, I think, is a Western one. Granted, we have suppressed this contemplative part of the Western spirit that sees ourselves as small, but striving to be in the image of something greater. But if we can reconnect through this, through art or literature and the rejection of materialism, we can develop a higher understanding of the world around us like our ancestors did. So what is the truth of the world around us? Last week, we discussed the racial spirit, that distinct part of a group that is defined by their homeland or by their people. Critics may argue that Blake's reference to the cavern applies to collectivism or to nationalism, but I believe that globalism creates our perceptual prison, which blurs the lines between our identities that are necessary for us to feel grounded and to feel free enough to create. Take the greatest piece of art in the history of mankind, although this is arguable, but Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. It was one of the first works of art to show God in a dynamic way with so much movement. Would he have been able to do this, to elevate his human creation to near divine, had it not been for his deep faith or for his belief that his artistic talents were divine? Would he have made such beautiful work if his practice had not come after the horrors of the Black Death and the cultural revival, particularly in Italy, that followed that? Blake may have seen all human experiences as part of this cavern, but I do not. I believe that being rooted in our heritage, in our cultural norms, and through our shared suffering, that we're inspired to create works that move us beyond our earthly limitations, that by being part of a world inherently confined, that allows us to break free of it. I also believe that we need to develop our movement in this image, not seeing our nationalism or more broadly the human condition as a hindrance to growth, but seeing it as a means for transcendence. So if we develop our movement from our racial spirit, from those things that call to our souls and have inspired our ancestors, we can renew it. And of course, it will be different from those movements of the past as the modern world has different challenges and evil has presented itself in new and unexpected ways. But this needs to be part of our movement as well. Everything we've talked about in today's show is a reflection of energy with no outlet. We're discontented, restless, angry. We want our homelands back. We want our identity back. And this energy is not all coming from the loss of these parts of us. It's coming from our desire to create. And this has been stifled by anyone that opposes racial or ethnic allegiance, which does return us to our racial spirit. If we can be grounded in this, we can begin to create again, not just art and literature and music, which are all so important, but to harness this energy that I spoke of to fuel our movement, a movement specific to this time and place, but that invokes our ancestral spirit. So let me know what you think in the comments below. How do we harness the energy of the disaffected masses to produce the most potent, most productive movement possible in today's age? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no. Sorry. I meant the applause one, not the crickets.
Lies. He knew what he did.
No, I thought it was this one, not that one.
So you think the Sistine Chapel is the most beautiful thing, huh?
Not the Mona Lisa?
No, the Mona Lisa I actually don't think would be one of the world's greatest pieces of art had it never been heisted.
Heisted? What do you mean?
The Mona Lisa was stolen, and before that it was kind of not an irrelevant.
You're saying that the Mona Lisa
piece
isn't
of
the Mona
art.
Lisa?
No, it is the Mona Lisa, but it gained world-renowned status because of the heist. Yeah, that has got to be up there. That is just...
And that's just like one little piece of it.
It's just spectacular.
I've
And
never been.
Michelangelo was not...
I haven't seen the Sistine Chapel, but I have seen Michelangelo's David. And to me, that is the apotheosis of artistic grandeur and dynamism. And I say that in part because Michelangelo journaled early in his life, son de esser bruto, which means I know I'm ugly. And to me, that's fascinating because when you think of Michelangelo today, you think of this incredibly beautiful statue, this idyllic, model-esque, perfectly symmetrical man. And I say that because Michelangelo explained his life mission more or less in that statement, right? He felt he was an unattractive person, so he set out to create beautiful things. In a sense, that is precisely the mission that we have embarked upon. We see ugliness in many ways in our lives every day, in all kinds of ways, beyond politics. And I think for men in particular, our mission is to identify those things and overcome them however we can. And so I think, Rebecca, you're exactly right. We just have to come together to do that. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think we will.
Michelangelo famously had a crazy ego, but I think that was because he was touched by the hand of divinity. I mean, his works are virtually unparalleled, especially his sculptural works.
See, it's things like this that makes me not believe in evolution.
Yeah,
because
we're not getting better.
We ain't getting any better. We kind of hit the high watermark a while ago. It's going a little downhill from here. So anyway.
The Pieta, of course.
Make sure you get your super chats in, thebacklash.net/super chat.
Let's talk Atlas.
Yeah, let's talk about what Cameron was talking a little bit about this financial crisis. I don't know if you want to do a quick filling in on what exactly is going on
is their
over in
website
England.
down?
Hold on, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But I have to get it back up. But I mean, I remember a couple episodes ago we were talking about the gilt. The bond prices in England are up. The gold situation is absolutely crazy. Set it up. Put the ball in the tee for me.
They have. So yeah, I was just watching BBC News, which is pretty much like the only major news outlet over there that's worth watching anymore because the Brits, like us, they're mainstream media is so controlled, it's so hollowed out, and I'm sure our audience that watches from there, I'm sure that they would go farther than me. But yeah, there's a crisis in England right now because the Chancellor of the Exchequer has put Great Britain into like a $50 billion deficit. And I think the Starmer government inherited something like $10 billion. Now to us, that's a rounding error. But in an economy the size of Great Britain, that is no small measure indeed. Their interest rates are rising. Their energy costs are high. They're facing inflationary pressure. They've deindustrialized and they have anemic economic growth. They can barely afford the public services that they furnish, and a large percentage of those public services are increasingly going to immigrants. So what is it that's going to trigger this escalation? It's going to be a financial crisis. And my sense is, because we're so interconnected, because our central bank and the Bank of England and the ECB and all the rest of it are so intertwined, I think that when they go down, that there will be a sovereign bond crisis around the world that won't be stopped. And so, yeah, we're knocking on the door to something like the Great Depression. How deep that depression will be, I'm sure I don't know. But I do think, in a positive sense, it will be such a cathartic moment that it will pave the way for the reconstruction, the reformation, and all the rest of it that we so desperately need. England is on the track. They're headed into the abyss. There's no question about it.
Yeah. And, if that happens, that means that the dollar is pretty fucked. I mean, I forget where we are. I didn't look at the DXY today. But, last time I checked, we were hovering around 100. The chances are it's probably going to go down to the 80s. That is not outside of the realm of possibility. And if Donald Trump gets his way, if we see Jerome Powell on the way out in the next year, and by March or May of next year, they're probably going to drop the interest rates. And if they drop the interest rates, that means that asset prices are going to go absolutely through the roof. And you don't want to be caught unprepared, which is why you should visit our friends at atlasbullion.com/backlash. They are the internet's finest place to get gold and silver bullion with the lowest premiums that you can get. There's a lot of other websites that sell gold and silver, but none of them can beat the prices of Atlas Bullion. They have weekly and monthly subscriptions, like their diverse metal subscription, or just silver, or just gold. Also looks like they have numismatic subscriptions as well. So that's just like, old coins that have value as coins for their mintage, not necessarily for the amount of gold or silver that they have in them. But they've got plans starting as low as, I don't want to say it. Last time I checked, it was $55 a month. That might have gone up because silver has been on a rip recently. Let me see if I can pull up the chart. Yeah, see, Kenzie, look, there's something going on. There is definitely something going on with your website.
Okay, don't call her out here.
I'm not calling her out. I've been texting her. I said I was going to show it on the stream. I don't know what's going on, but definitely check them out, atlasbullion.com. There are links on our website. You can go to our website under affiliate links, hit gold and silver. It'll probably be working when you go to do this. But yeah, if you take a look over here, let me pull up my stock app or whatever. This is a little bit too long of a time frame. Let's go to 6 months. Even 6 months, gold is up, 20%. Silver is up 16%, and it's just been, climbing and climbing. And if you look, it's making a giant cup. And if that happens, it could break up. I don't know, not financial advice, do your own research. But get some gold and silver, get prepared, save in something that can't be debased.
Do you legally have to say that things are not financial advice? My dad told me that, and I was like, is that true?
Yeah.
Even Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Oh, you do not say that enough.
Past performance is not indicative of future gains or performance.
Dave, did you see the BLS jobs report? Did you hear about that?
Holy shit. Yeah, didn't they revise it down by several 100,000? I mean, basically every assumption that we've had about the economy over the last 4 years has been fake. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it seems so. So Trump lost. He fell into a stupor, got furiously angry because the big, beautiful economy, I'm paraphrasing his incoherence, but basically we are in some kind of a recession. And so the last few months, these are staggering numbers, by the way. So the BLS puts out a report every month on the state of the labor market, basically. And then they put out a revised report a month after that and another one 2 months after that. So in May, the initial jobs added supposedly were 144,000. The revisions down took it down to 19,000.
Oh my gosh.
In June, it went from the original print was 147,000 down to 14,000.
Wow.
So we created 33,000 new jobs allegedly in May and June, and then July, the expectation was 120,000 jobs added, and the revision I think was 73,000. So this has been a consistent theme for the last 3 or 4 years. And what I think it suggests is that we are in a very severe recession or something worse, and there's structural damage to the economy. That combined with the fiscal recklessness and all the rest of it suggests that gold and silver are going to go a lot higher, a lot higher. And that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're completely right. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, lead, all very important things to have. By lead, I mean bullets. Because why
Thanks,
not?
Dave.
Yeah, you know, just for the ones in the back of the bus.
I mean, those are gigantic revisions. They're gigantic. And, you know, Trump got angry and said, you know, this is...
he said they were rigged. Those jobs were rigged. This
is some kind of rigged attack on his administration, maybe. But, you know, again, this is another example of his poor leadership. He said that the economy under Biden was extremely poor. I agree with him. I think it was. And he said that the BLS numbers were suspect. Why not fire the BLS commissioner in January? Why not come in with a fresh batch of people? Well, because he doesn't really care about the details. It only matters when it matters to Donald Trump. And so now he's in a major bind, and nobody gives a shit how bad the Biden economy was. Nobody cares that Russia was Biden's war or whatever. Now Trump owns it all.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, if you've been paying any attention to some of the other, like, you know, financial podcasters and whatnot, word on the street is that the Trump administration, Scott Bessent, by the way, I don't know if we've talked about it nearly enough, that Scott Bessent is both a usurer and a homosexual, which coincidentally in Dante's Inferno share the same circle of hell.
Is it 4?
I thought it was the 7th circle, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, find that, fact check me on that. But you know, we've got people that are in charge of the economy that don't know the difference between an asshole and a vagina. Okay, this is who is running the American economy.
That was something foul.
And these people want to run inflation hot because that's basically the only way that we can get out of our debt. Right? We're going to have to print more money. If they print more money, or, you know, Cameron also says, you know, it's essentially defaulting, but they're going to let inflation run hot. If inflation runs hot, assets are going to go up, and, you know, gold's going to go up, Bitcoin's going to go up, silver's going to go up. If you do want, by the way, I got to plug it. If you do want to start investing in Bitcoin, there is no better place to do it than River. We have a link on our website.
7th circle of hell. Look at you, literary master.
Look at me. I'm smart. Go to River. Go to River, buy Bitcoin. Save in Bitcoin. Save in gold. Save in silver. Save in things that can't be debased because... And it's not even about what Trump's going to do necessarily. I don't see J.D. Vance winning in 2028, to be quite honest. And what happens if we get a progressive Democrat in? We're going to get like UBI. There's going to be money printing like no one has ever seen in this country before. It's going to be terrifying what happens between 2028 and 2032. So you've got to be thinking long-term. And if you are, then you should be going to atlasbullion.com/backlash. Get the links on our website.
Here, blasphemers lie supine on the sand. Sodomites continually run in groups without rest, and usurers sit hunched with purses around their necks, symbolizing their sin of making money breed unnaturally through high interest rates.
Yeah, well, it's the same.
Dante.
It's the same sin, right? Like you've got the Sodomites, which take that which is fertile, sex. You're supposed to have sex with a woman and you make a kid, right? So sex is supposed to be fertile. Money is infertile. You don't put 2 quarters in a drawer, walk away, and come back and find $1 later.
Yeah.
You do put 2 rabbits in a cage, and you come back and find a litter of rabbits, right? Like, so you understand. So Sodomy makes that which is fertile infertile, and usury takes that which is infertile and makes it fertile. They are inverse opposites.
So they're
sins.
crimes against nature.
Correct. They are both crimes against nature. And both of them, sodomy is a sin that cries to heaven for vengeance. It's one of the 4 sins that cries to heaven for vengeance. And then there's oppression of the poor and defrauding the laborer of just wages, which are also sin, another 2 of. So 3 out of the 4 sins that cry to heaven for vengeance have to do with these issues. The 4th is, of course, murder of the innocent, which our government is also guilty of because of what's going on in Gaza. But yeah, anyway, that was a little tangent, little off.
Might have to add wearing those sunglasses there, Dave. To that list.
Does it make me look smarter?
No, it makes you look dumber. Faux show.
Faux show?
Yeah.
For real?
Geeking.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm geeking. And I'm also geeking because of Antelope Hill Publishing, who is fighting to
gonna
keep
fire
history
us.
alive against the regime of anti-white censorship and to publish a new generation of dissident, radical, and right-wing researchers, philosophers, polemicists, and writers. They have an eclectic catalog that includes veteran right-wing authors and academics like Carrie Bolton, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne, and Paul Kersey, as well as newer figures like Lord Miles Routledge of Afghanistan, Josh Neal, and Christian Secor, in addition to a long list of original translations or modern reprints otherwise inaccessible historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and even medieval Europe. Their original works include groundbreaking investigations into the causes and funding behind transgenderism, the opioid crisis, books on Christian nationalism and American folktales. Additionally, Antelope Hill also contributes to the regeneration of our culture and rebirth of our family values through their top quality fiction, including books like Let Them Look West and Worlds Separated, and a collection of beautifully illustrated and wholesome children's books. Whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published and with cover art that will grace your bookshelves. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and work to preserve the birthright of our history. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com today, and also pick up a Fell For It Again award. You might deserve it. Or maybe you know someone in your life that deserves a Fell For It Again award. I mean, I could give away 5 of these a week.
You didn't really fall for it, did you, Dave? You
did.
didn't really believe. Did
He
you?
believed.
No.
He did.
No, I mean,
You voted for him.
You didn't really believe.
I didn't really. I voted for him because if I didn't, then these Jewish people that crawl up my ass, phrasing, then these, Zionist agitators that are up here in the north, they already call me a Democrat. They call me a liberal. And so I figured, well, if I vote for Trump and I take a picture of it, then they can't say that I'm a fake conservative or I'm a fake Republican, because I'm not. Granted, I'm not a conservative at this point. Well, I don't want to conserve this system. This system sucks. I want it to be torn down.
None of us are. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to conserve the Federal Reserve. I don't want to conserve the racial tension in our cities. I don't want to conserve any of this shit. I want it to be gone. I want something new and better to take over. Yeah. But I figured that from a rhetorical perspective, if I, vote for Trump and I take a picture of it and put it on Twitter, that maybe these people wouldn't attack me so much. I was wrong. I fell for it again from that point of view.
I've never heard Elton John talk so much sense.
I know, it's crazy.
We also have to
No, look, Dave, you're right. You're right, brother. And I think we need to dispense with that lexicon because it just doesn't characterize us anymore. And this, I suppose, bookends the show appropriately because that was what the spat between Fuentes and Tucker and the rest, that's what it's all about. Fuentes, if I recall correctly, he was expelled from the conservative movement. The conservative movement is Con Inc. It's Turning Point USA. What does that have to do with anything we've talked about on the show? Nothing. It's living in the past.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, they've got nothing on it. And the funniest part is especially when you look at Idaho Republican politics, you get all these people arguing over I'm the real conservative. No, I'm the real conservative, and it's like I don't want to conserve any of this.
No.
I'm sorry. I like the community. I want to conserve the community. I like it the way that it is. 89% white, very nice, low crime rate. You can take your kids out, to the beach or on a boat. I like all that. I want that to stay. I want there to be good jobs up here. But at the same time, I don't want to have my money in my bank account get fleeced by money printing. I don't want to visit Spokane and have it feel like I'm visiting a third world fucking hellhole, because that's what it feels like.
It does, yes.
And I don't want to conserve that. I want to do better than that. And I want to do better than that for my kids. And these old boomer idiots fighting with each other over who the real conservative is, like, the time for that has passed. They should be fighting over who is actually America first, who is Idaho first. But hey, that's just my opinion. But I'm
They'll die. It's
I'm
okay.
a crazy guy. I'm out of touch. I'm beyond the pale. Okay, fine. Well, whatever. Have fun losing. And when you've lost and you're screwed, well, then I'll come and I'll make easy work of it. So it'll be fine.
We're gonna sweep up your mess.
Yeah, give it 4 years. It'll be over. Get your super chats in. Last minute super chats at thebacklash.net/super chat. And before we get there, we have to give a big shout out to North Idaho Tallow Company at idahotallow.com. If you're tired of skincare packed with chemicals you can't pronounce, North Idaho Tallow Company keeps it simple with grass-fed tallow, time-tested ingredients, and zero junk. Their soaps, balms, and lip balm are packed with bioavailable nutrients your skin actually needs. No fillers, no endocrine disruptors, just rugged, reliable skincare that works. So ditch the synthetic garbage and switch to North Idaho Tallow Company. Get yours at idahotallowcompany.com. And by the way, their soap of the month, hold on, I got to go back. Their soap of the month subscription is a great way to not only make sure that, you stay clean. Cleanliness is like godliness and all that. But also it's a great way to support the show. A big chunk of your soap of the month subscription goes towards North Idaho Tallow Company's advertising budget, which is basically exclusively spent on the show, which is great. And they also have like special soap that you can't just buy on the website. I think they've got like some weird like cinnamon citrus thing for September coming up. Smells nice. It's not like pumpkin spice, but it's close. It is nice. That rhymed. Whoops.
We bring it at the end of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. See, well, now we're getting back. It's 5 o'clock. I'm very trained.
Should we let Cameron go? It's like the middle of the night there.
It's got to be like 2 a.m. Jeez.
Cameron, why don't you go to bed?
Pretty late.
If you want to go to bed.
It's all right. I'll stay
chats.
around for a little bit longer.
All right. Well, let's get into some of these super chats that you sent us and see what you guys have to say. Today is the 6th.
Oh my God.
Well, we're going to start off strong, first of all, with our crypto super chat app. Somebody sent us some money over there. Thank you very much. From Rivers of Blood. Thank you very much, Mr. Rivers of Blood. Thank you for playing that Enoch Powell clip, as that speech inspired my namesake. Remember that taking the black pill doesn't mean to lose hope and do nothing. It should mean that there is no political solution. Tribe and train based. Thank you so much for the Bitcoin donation. And you can do that on our website at thebacklash.net/super chat. It's the green one at the bottom. And you can send us chats there that we will read live during the show. Now let's get back to the normal power chats. Bill Biz sent $50. Thank you very much. Mark Collette was deported from Sweden, banned from entering 27 European countries for 15 years. Ironically, the Schengen area. Wonder who could be making malicious and powerful enough to orchestrate this travesty.
I didn't know this.
Did this happen recently? This reminds me.
We would have mentioned that on the show.
I think I actually got a super chat about this a couple days ago.
British nationalist leader Mark Collette been refused entry to Sweden, detained for 25 hours, deported, banned from the EU for 15 years after flying in to give a speech.
That's crazy. So he can't leave England now?
That seems to be the case.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to get Mark on the show. Maybe we can have him on in September. I think we had emailed back and forth a couple months ago, so we could definitely have him on.
That is just outrageous.
We have another $50 a month. Well, it could be more than once a month. Okay, anyway, Robert sent $50. It's August. Here you go. The Nick clapback was truly a display of weaponized autism to behold. We are going to see yet another and stronger attempt to contain the Groypers. Ask how that went with Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro or Joe Kent, et cetera, et cetera.
Do they learn nothing?
Yeah, it is inevitable.
You will never catch me saying anything about the Groypers. Never.
Well,
never going to happen.
They're not only right, but they have energy. They're young. They're smart. They're not being paid to do it. It's decentralized, as Cameron pointed out earlier. You can't stop this thing.
No.
It is.
After
the
that
cat
interview
is out of the bag.
with those two young fellas the other day, I literally had to go home and take a nap.
Why are they going a little?
No, it's just like talking to young people.
Yeah.
Like my 15-year-old nephew was in town, and like he's so idealistic and energized. I'm like, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah, the kids are going to save this country.
I know.
I think
They
I
are.
think they are. Mermaid Marie.
Hey, girl. Thank you so much.
I always wanted a son, but I ended up with 5 daughters. Number 5 is due in 2 months. Congratulations.
That is so cool.
I have spiritually and psychologically adopted Nick Fuentes as my surrogate son.
Aww.
I genuinely love him. Thanks for covering this issue, praying for him.
Yes, we should all be praying for Nick Fuentes.
Pray. There's like 2 things that you got to pray. 3 things you got to pray for every day. World peace, Nick Fuentes, and the Pope. Okay?
I'm not praying for the Pope.
You got to pray for the Pope.
I don't. I don't
You
have to
gotta
do
pray
anything.
For the Pope. Come on. Your Asian man sent $10. Have you guys ever considered having Andrew Wilson on? I think you would have a very interesting conversation with him, especially when it comes to Christian ethics, the plunging birth rates in the West, and solving many of the demographic issues.
Sure, I'd love to. My month is September, so I'll talk to him, and then I'm friends with his wife, Rachel, so I'll
There
drop
we
him a
go.
line.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd love to have them both on.
Love to have him on. I'm also talking with James Perloff. Do you know him? No?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a special show with him, just maybe like me and him or something. I guess he got banned from speaking at John Birch Society
Oh, really?
meetings because he's like a pretty famous book author and writer and all of this. And so somebody had emailed me saying, you should get James Perloff on the show. So
You do this thing where you name drop.
I will.
And I almost never know who you're talking about, but about 50% of the time, I'll just pretend
Okay.
that I know who you're talking about.
That's
That time I decided if you asked me any follow-up questions, I'd be screwed, so I told the
that's
truth.
okay. You're like a hipster. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you ever heard of that band, Grizzly Bear?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love them.
They're so great. Yeah.
Anyway, Righteous Muffin sent $10. Cameron was made in a military lab. 0 emotional response to the Nick Ghibli video. He's seen some stuff.
In the Navy.
Yeah, it's just I get messages from guys all the time, and it's not an easy time right now. If you're 18 to 35, 18 to 40, this guy in particular that I'm thinking of, he did not send me a message directly, but I think he was 37 years old. He was living in a trailer in some capacity and working like 60 hours a week just to live paycheck to paycheck. Hadn't had a girlfriend in years, didn't have any friends. These people, they're activated by Fuentes for a reason, among others, and they're hurting, right? They're suffering the pangs of the isolation and the compression from society, right? Which has completely abandoned them and hates them.
Yep.
So it's completely understandable. I think that we're getting closer to the point where that will operationalize. And I think that's what the spat was really all about. But that will require leadership. It will require a vision and an understanding of how to channel that. One of the differences on my channel, at least when I talk about these things, one of the differences between men and women is that I think for women, their purpose is to understand their emotions. For men, our purpose is to channel them. We've got to harness that energy and push it in the right direction. I think we're getting closer to that, but it will require those things: a vision. It will require certainly opportunity, and it will require leadership to point it in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all. Phil the Thrill sent $50. I want a shit post about Lauren Southern's book, but I don't want to make Rebecca mad.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, I think it was a bad move.
What, her coming out with a book?
Yes. Yeah.
What's in it? Is it out?
It's out, and it's about like her time in politics and, her.
I thought that she wanted to be left alone and quit. Hasn't she quit 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, and then it's about how she got raped by Andrew Tate. I'm sure you heard about all this.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. But did she really get raped by Andrew Tate?
Yeah, I think she probably did, but it was a situation where she was out drinking with him. She strongly suggests that he drugged her, which I think is probably not true. But, he is, I think it's probably true. I mostly don't want to get involved.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of
Just in general, I do not like it when people release tawdry tell-all books about their time in any space.
MySpace.
Especially MySpace. Tom, yeah. I didn't read his biography either.
Tom, now there's a good tech founder, right? He made something, it worked, he cashed out, he went away.
Yeah.
He's like fishing.
There's that one picture of him. That's it.
God bless him.
I've never heard him talk. I don't know what's going on in his life. Good for you, Tom of MySpace. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Book Track Groove sent $10 on Rumble. Build, carve, draw, stone by stone. Cameron, is Trump just having manpower issue to get the illegals out? I understand numbers have gone down coming in. What's the numbers out?
Look, I don't think Trump controls the government, okay? We know who sets his agenda. Dave talks about it all the time. He's more focused on supporting Israel, giving them the armaments, the equipment, the munitions, the political cover than he is with any domestic agenda. And that was the myth of MAGA, right? That you could have this sort of coinciding divergent interests between make Israel great again and make America great again. And you can't. And ultimately, MAGA was sacrificed to make Israel great again. That's where our focus is at the moment. That's what his government is all about. I mean, they just imposed some kind of sanction on states that are censoring Israeli companies or sanctioning Israeli companies. I don't know if you know about this, Dave, but they've weaponized the state against quote unquote anti-Semitism, whatever that means, so that they can suppress people that are talking about the genocide in Gaza, among other things, right? So to me, that's really what has befuddled the government. In addition to that, Donald Trump lacks executive competency. As I said, he doesn't really understand how to implement policy. And just to illustrate my point, who's in charge of remigration? Who is it?
Jonathan Miller.
It's not Homan, right? He doesn't have executive authority.
Or Stephen Miller.
What's the immigration plan? I've never heard of any such plan.
No.
These are very real questions that Trump should be asked, and he's never really been held to the fire. People just assume that they see these ICE raids and something's happening. Well, I think something is happening, but it's a far cry from what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So the answer is executive competency. It's not there. There's no clear plan. And thirdly, his agenda has been subverted by a foreign power. That's where his focus is.
Yep.
Oh, and it's very clear. I don't know how I missed this in real time. I guess it is easy to miss things in real time. I mean, the news moves so fast. But we've got this article here. Trump, Israel, and the Epstein Files by Yosef Janowski from the Times of Israel. This came out on July 21st. I don't know how I missed it, but here it is, plain as day. Trump decided to bomb Iran's nuclear sites, and that's commendable, but reports later surfaced that he rejected the option to bomb for a week's time in order to finish off all the sites. Thus, only Fordow was severely damaged, while other sites had only minimal damage. And now some old files are threatening him. Perhaps Trump will realize that it doesn't pay to start up with Israel. Perhaps those implicated in the files will express contrition and regret. Because when, by divine providence, things that were hidden become revealed, it enables people to correct their mistakes and endeavor to live their lives properly the way God wants them to. This is blackmail. They are blackmailing him. That is the most obvious and in-your-face group of sentences put together and released by the Times of Israel. This is them telegraphing to Trump, hey, buddy, we know what's up. We've got the files, and we are going to nuke you if you don't nuke them. So I don't know how I missed that. And of course, today we have a new article coming out from the Times of Israel. And this is Netanyahu is said to be set to order a full takeover of Gaza despite IDF qualms and risks to hostages. They are going to do a full-on occupation again, except that this time they're going to be using American troops. They can't do it on their own. They don't have the strength to do it. They're out of bombs. They're out of munitions. Everybody's pulling out of the coalition government. The Shas party kind of told Netanyahu to beat it. I think they've only got 2 or 3 months left before they need to go and elect a new prime minister based on their Knesset rules. And so Netanyahu is trying his damnedest to do something big to keep himself in power. And this is the next thing. They're going to go in and occupy Gaza and kill everybody. You know, hello. I think our government is guilty of all 4 of the sins that cry to heaven for vengeance, just outright. Like,
and we pay taxes, so
God
we
is
also
not,
are.
but God is not blessing America. God is cursing us.
Yes.
There's also, I'll talk about it on another episode. There's something about some judges being appointed in this area that's very problematic. Anyway, let me refresh the page.
Refresh the page.
We do a little refreshing. Sorry. Wow, it's quiet.
See, play the crickets.
Black American Groiper sent $5. Rebecca looks her best in black, as always. Question for you 3. Who is the greatest political speaker of our time currently? And if you give the wrong answer, you're canceled.
The greatest political speaker of our time currently?
Yeah.
Well, speaker and writer would be...
It said speaker.
Speaker? I mean, it's got to go
Nick
to Fuentes. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. There's like...
And Cameron
no doubt
McGregor.
No doubt about it.
The best speaker that I've seen up close is definitely Orban. I saw him in something like Question Time. I think that's what they call. I don't know what they call it in Hungary, but I was lucky enough to go to the Parliament building in Budapest, which is one of the best, nicest parliaments I've ever been to. By the way, if you ever have a chance to go, I don't know if you can find it. If you show it on the screen, Dave, it's a spectacular building. But anyway, I saw Orban up close, and the man was masterful. I mean, he really was. He was just a brilliant speaker. Maybe not, quite as powerful, but certainly somebody that knew how to weave language properly. And seeing it up close was great because there's such a difference between when you see a professional politician, somebody that really knows their craft, like Orban, and you compare that to what we have in the United States, it's night and day.
Yeah, look at that building.
That's incredible.
I've never been in it, but I have taken photos of it. I've been to Budapest. Yeah. I got robbed by a gypsy, stole my camera.
You probably
How
deserved
is it that you get robbed or attacked wherever you go? Are you wearing those sunglasses?
It must be the sunglasses. It must be the sunglasses.
Dave's got a really punchable face. That's what it is.
People love me or they hate me.
Oh, I forgot about Devin Stack.
What, Devin Stack wants to punch me?
Oh, no, maybe. I don't know. As in terms of, I'm thinking in media, not in politics. Did he specify?
He said, who's the greatest political speaker of our time currently? And the correct answer to that question is Nicholas J. Fuentes.
Devin Stack gives Nick a run for his money.
Nicholas J. Fuentes. So anyway, Anonymous sent $25 in the event that FEMA abandons Americans. There's an opportunity to demonstrate leadership in the face of contempt. A fundraiser or truck full of supplies can go a long way for your movement to gain traction. Some easy wins since the rulers are petty. Yeah, and especially with this whole bullshit that they were pulling late last week, early this week with the whole disaster relief funding being tied to anti-Semitism. Like you have to, if like a hurricane destroys your house and then the government comes in with a contract and you have to sign, I will not boycott, divest, or sanction Israel or do business with anyone that engages in that kind of activity. And the money is contingent on that, which is incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's great because everyone's seeing it. And the more bold and the more that these Zionist types, that these Jewish types that have control of the government, the more that they push, the more bold and chutzpah that they display, the more people see it and wake up to it and realize, hey, you know what? Maybe those guys were right because we are right. Far right. Anonymous sent $5. I know y'all are primarily a Catholic outfit, but I would like to see you interview William Fink of Christogena.com. Did I say that right? And allow him a chance to articulate his beliefs and position as a pro-white Christian identity pastor. Interesting.
We will take note.
I will do some research and see what's up with this. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I am a WASP too, so let's not forget that. I'm the only non-Catholic on this.
Cameron
on
is
this.
a token wasp. It's fine. Righteous Muffin sent $5. Dave, you son of a bitch. I recommended Rebecca's rant several times and you just take that.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. You just take that with your money grubbing hands. Crying emoji.
Yeah.
I didn't. Maybe it must have been subconscious.
It's good. I like it. Rebecca
Righteous
Rance.
Muffin, you deserve all the credit for that.
I'm still voting for Blonde's Brief.
Blonde's
Oh,
Brief.
I like that. I liked Blonde Blabs.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It reminded me of Bob Loblaw from Arrested Development. No.
Bob Loblaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Bob Loblaw's Law Blog.
Oh, yeah. Book Track Groove sent $10. Pearl Davis complaining about Sarah Stock is fake and gay. We need to build families. Cam, do you have the numbers or not? I'm looking for numbers. We need to look at the logistics. He's asking about the numbers of deportations.
Pearl's
And
such a bitch.
I
God.
don't think that we have the
We don't.
deportation numbers. But yeah, Pearl stirring up drama over Sarah Stock getting like engaged.
Yeah.
Bra.
She always does that. One time I posted a picture of like the back of my baby's head.
Mm.
And she's like, "You're weaponizing your children for social media clout." I'm like, "You literally can't see anything. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." Women that are online should be promoting like the most Instagrammable version of motherhood to other moms.
Yes.
It needs to be like pro-white propaganda. Pearl doesn't understand this for obvious reasons.
Do we have the picture?
Did you just Google Pearl Davis Black?
This is
There
her
it is.
boyfriend.
You know, the sad thing about this though is this is like the happiest, least annoying she's ever looked.
Bruh. I'm just saying.
You know, he went to jail for beating the shit out of his new wife, who looks like younger, hotter Pearl Davis.
Really?
Yeah.
And she's not married.
No, I think she's like 30, 32 or something.
Can we just have a moratorium on women until we figure out what the hell
What's
is going
going on?
Okay, just ban all women.
War Brides. That's the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Did you ever read Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male?
No.
Dave?
No.
Yes,
that's
of
a
course.
must read.
I did not.
Yeah, War Brides. Women will side with the winners. It's just that simple. They'll side with the
they're
winners.
going to be siding with the Groypers. When I become president, every incel will have a hot Latina girlfriend. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, the only thing I quibble with that was said earlier about weird and so forth is, look, there are a lot of men in this country, young men, middle-aged men, and so forth, that are not weird, that are perfectly functional, that are equally pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a much bigger thing than some idiosyncratic kids, and there are a lot of them out there, right? And we live in a bizarre time too, in which your social competency is a kind of cachet that I don't think it's ever been. You know, in other words, your ability to sort of assert interpersonal dominance in a conversation or in a coffee shop or something, that is at a premium today in ways that it never has been before. And I don't think most men were designed to go into a cafe or go up to some woman on the street and coax her, right?
But women should be rewarding men for that behavior.
They should, sure.
But they treat them like creeps. Like you try to like go up to a woman at a bar and they treat you
That's
like a
not
creep.
true. When I lived in Los Angeles, when I was 24, if a man ever asked me out in person, no matter how unattractive, I'd go out with him.
Really?
Every single one. Because I was like, that is courageous. Can you imagine
That was
approaching a
also
woman like
like
that?
12 years ago.
Yeah, I was even hotter.
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying is that like Tinder hadn't really happened yet. Like the
Sure
game
it did. I was on OkCupid back then.
That's different.
Is it different? It's the same. It's the same thing.
I think the marketplace has changed a lot since then.
Anyway, in my own way.
No, it absolutely has. There was actually a study. I can't think of the specific name, but the vast majority of relationships, as far as we can document, came from family and friend referrals.
Oh,
That's where
right.
it comes
Yeah, we talked about that on the
from.
show, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, it does not come from pickup. That was only a very small percentage, and I think it peaked like in the 80s.
That's rough.
Right? So, anyway, bottom line is no. Normally, you have these natural forming networks that facilitate the courtship process. Anyway, the point being that, yeah, I think a whole generation, multiple generations of men are very, very pissed off, and some of them are not weird. A lot of them are not weird. A lot of them are highly functional and highly capable people that are fully socialized too, but they're equally pissed off. So I just think broaden the demographic. It's not just about that group.
It's not just about weird. It's about, yeah, I mean, it's everybody. Reinhardt sent $50.
Hey.
That's annoying. I gotta stop. It's muscle memory at this point. You guys won't or can't endorse, but I will. This movement will only see true forward progress when our people start mounting a physical offense against the enemy. When people start getting picked off, it will be a signal to everyone to draw. It'll be a signal to everyone that a new dynamic has begun.
You watch those protests in Europe. Take a look at what's happening in England. Okay, I mean it is achieving escape velocity. There's no question about it. And this goes back to what I said earlier, right, about the difference between feminine energy and masculine energy. And bear in mind, when I say online activity, and this was not my original idea or point, but when this was made to me, it made a lot of sense. It's not to condemn what people do online. I'm a YouTuber, content creator myself, but it is a feminine kind of medium. It's more passive, less active. You're exactly right, though. It's going to translate into real action in the real world. That will be more masculine. We're just not there yet. I think it's coming, though.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to find, there was images I remember seeing 6 or 8 months ago of an Irish anti-immigration protest where they started firebombing the police.
This sounds vaguely familiar.
I thought that was based. Don't do that.
And that's what we're seeing. But there's a lot of activity that's going on over there that's not being recorded, right? So yes. I think there's a lot more happening at the street level than people realize in the United States too. You know, especially in the bigger cities, whether it's LA or Chicago or New York City or Philadelphia. I mean, I think, Dave, didn't you send something earlier about some kind of confrontation in a restaurant? It's happening.
Oh yeah, I did. You remember that? It was like, there was this like white woman at the restaurant and some black guy called her a cracker and she just like sat there and then he like jumped her and like all the waitresses had to pull him off.
Good Lord.
It was crazy. But yeah, fatigue is running at all-time highs. Over on Entropy, we got $25 from Gorilla Hands. Hey guys, love the show. I just subscribed for a monthly subscription to Atlas Bullion for gold and silver.
Awesome.
Am I the only one who is heartbroken and mad that the United States has become over the past 25 years? I was so patriotic and was willing to die for this country growing up in the 90s, and all I feel is shame and hatred now.
Well, in that way, it's a gift that you're not willing to die for something that is evil.
Yeah. No, it's bad. I mean, I remember.
Let the truth reassure you.
I remember getting all caught up. I mean, I was young. I was a young teenager at the time, but I remember getting all caught up in the post 9/11 thing. You know, cheering when we bombed Iraq and all that. But you know, no more. They don't get our support anymore. Ooh, look, it's working. It's on the screen.
Hey, look at that.
Mojack420 sent $5. Here's a little something. Wish it could be more. God is great. Very true.
I hope that I'm not blowing his cover, but Mojack, who is a very hardcore old man, had like an incurable type of cancer. And he used some kind of weird therapy. And he just messaged me that it's been gone for 20 months. He is cancer-free, 20 months.
Wow.
Some people, you just know that like nothing is going to kill him. He's going to go
Jagger.
out in like Mick Jagger. Mojack420
who's the guitarist?
Is going to go out in some Keith Richards, blaze of glory when he's 95. He's going to get like hit by a bus or something.
Based?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is actually really funny. I got an email a couple days ago from a supporter of ours in Virginia.
Yeah.
Who was like, he was like asking, is there a way that I can send you money that isn't like, you know, on the internet? And I was like, well, I mean, you could always put like money in an envelope.
Is he the one that did it?
He might have been. And he was like, yeah, well, you know, I'm like 76. So like, I didn't really want to drive it all the way up to you. And I'm just like, bro, I feel so bad. Like my bad. Like I didn't realize you were like elderly. Thank you for listening.
That's really not that old anymore, you know?
No, my dad's like 73. I shouldn't say that. We appear to be all caught up on super chats for this installment.
What a fun show that was. We'll be back on.
Hold on. There might be.
Dave, if you're just stepping on my.
Hold on a second.
My transitions, my intros, my outros all day.
The payment has not yet gone through, but it might be going through. So I'm just going to read it from our crypto super chat platform from Colin. Hey guys, thanks for your hard work. My question is for Dave and Cameron. I'm increasingly concerned with losing the value of my savings and interested in Bitcoin as an alternative to a savings investment account, but I don't understand it. Could you please recommend a book that would explain it to me as if I were a child? Bonus question, a recommendation on a book that could explain how our modern financial system works, i.e. the Federal Reserve, etc. I trust you guys for good info. God bless. I would start with this book, The Fiat Standard by Saifedean Ammou. We might even be getting a chance to interview him later this month, which will be really interesting. But he also wrote a book called The Bitcoin Standard and The Fiat Standard. Very good books. Also, Broken Money by Lynn Alden. Highly recommend. We don't get any money for this. Broken Money, Lynn. Hold on. There it is. There it is. Broken Money by Lynn Alden. How much is it? $30. Why our financial system is failing us and how we can make it better. Very good book. Kind of demystifies the whole credit creation process and all that.
Cameron, how about you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't read the Lynn Alden one. Was that good?
Yeah, very. Very.
Yeah. I need to take a look at that.
Worth
Let
it.
me see. I've got a whole list here. Where is the damn thing?
What was that book? The Creature from Jekyll Island?
No. You don't need to read that. That book is just very long as it is.
Yeah, it's old too.
Where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. So the question was about finance, right?
Yes. The question was books to explain it to you like you're a toddler.
Well, a good book that it's not specifically about how you should invest your money, but it is a good book to read to understand the financial system to some degree. It's called A Short History of Financial Euphoria by John Kenneth Galbraith. It's like 100 pages, very easy read, and it's about the manias that you get in the market. If you want something that's a bit more advanced, I would say The Socioeconomic Theory of Finance by Robert Prechter. That's pretty advanced. If you're looking for something that's more basic, Economics, A Self-Teaching Guide by Steve Slavin. That's not a bad one.
Nice.
So we'll go with that.
Very good. So anyway, Colin, I hope that you continue paying for your super chat. Sometimes it can take up to 10 minutes for a payment on Bitcoin to send. So, I hope that you do. Anyway.
Oh, and one other it's called Conquer the Crash, again by Robert Prechter. That's an easier read, and everybody should read that book. Conquering the Crash, Robert Prechter.
Robert, here, let me pull that up on the screen real quick. Yes. How you can survive and prosper in a deflationary depression.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, that's a good book to read for sure.
Yeah. Very good.
All right. Thank you, audience, so much. Andrew Wilson and his wife are allied. Wait, what does this say?
Where?
A new one just came in from
Oh.
Thunderstorm.
Okay, hold on. Refreshing.
Andrew Wilson and his wife are allied with Pearl in the man U.S. sphere. I know.
Yeah.
But I really like Rachel. And I like that she's loyal to Pearl.
I like Andrew Wilson. He's the guy that smokes cigarettes
Yeah.
with the beard, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he just like rips hose to shreds
Yeah.
on the whatever podcast.
A man smoking cigarettes and ripping hose to shreds. There is something so wholesome about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we should get him on.
Okay.
It'd be fun. Very
Thank
good.
you so much for joining us. Find all of our links at thebacklash.net. And please come to our show on Monday. We'll be there 4 o'clock Monday with
4 o'clock.
11
No,
o'clock on
11
Monday.
o'clock a.m. Pacific time, 2
Sorry.
p.m. Eastern with Marcel Dumas.
Oh, sweet. It's going to be a great show.
That'll be good. And we are going to be doing our Wednesday shows at 3 p.m.
From now on.
Or 6 p.m. Eastern for the foreseeable future here. So
Let's let Cameron go to bed. You must be exhausted.
good night.
Good night, audience. Good night, Cameron. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye.